space-time transaction. Exchanging food for the elf princess at the start. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76. To be honest, although I have guessed what you want to do in advance and made preparations for it, but if you didn't do anything last night, I would definitely not touch you now. At most, I would come here to ask you to get out of here. So, Yi said helplessly, but there is no way. This person is sometimes ignorant and fearless. He likes to rashly explore areas that are completely unfamiliar to him, and exploration comes at a price. So, Yi doesn't believe that they know nothing about the Zheng family and the Tao family in Modu Point G, as our officials can guess that this matter is definitely related to Su Yi. They can't guess it. It's just that they are stubborn. Or they are blinded by huge profits. After all, the ancestors of those behind them are all from islands, and robbery is already ingrained in their genes, and robbery is definitely risky. Without giving them a chance to speak, Su Yi continued, "You dare to attack my family? Do you think that those people who died yesterday are the end? Of course, I also know that you are just pawns, and there are other people behind the scenes who really planned these things, but don't worry, they will soon feel the same as you. Don't be afraid, I won't kill you. After all, I'm a law-abiding citizen, and killing is definitely against the law. You Ling knows a kind of magic. After using it, you will lose the ability to express yourself. So-called expression, including but not limited to using words, language, gestures and other methods to communicate with others. In addition, she will also cast a kind of magic on you, so that your body will gradually age, but your spirit will remain vigorous, so that you can clearly perceive how you quickly grow old and die, and at the same time, you can't reveal in any form what you saw and heard today. Plus, you didn't bring any recording equipment in. You see, this is a perfect plan, right, Su? Yi couldn't help but smile as he said this, and seemed very satisfied with the plan. Yu Ling's eyes flashed, and a magic wand suddenly appeared in his hand. The next moment, these people immediately felt that something invisible and intangible, but real, had entered their bodies. Their bodies instinctively rejected this kind of thing, but they were helpless and had no power to resist. The fear in their eyes became more and more intense, but they could not express any opinions. Now, in order to allow you to walk out of here with your hands and feet intact, so that I don't have to take the blame, your memories of this place will be temporarily sealed for 3 to 5 days. After 3 to 5 days, you will gradually remember the things here, but you have lost the ability to express. As for now, you are very healthy. Dismissed. So, Yi waved his hand and walked out directly. Yu Ling put the magic wand back into his storage space and left. It was not until a few minutes after the two left that the representatives of various companies who were almost collapsed by magic woke up from their dreams and looked at the surrounding environment in a daze. Wait, what happened just now? Did Su Yi come? I remember he came, and he seemed to have said something. How come I was distracted? Oh no, the chairman asked me to discuss the acquisition with Su Yi in detail, but he hasn't given it to him yet. Where's Su Yi? Everyone, the chairman said the meeting is over, and his meaning is very clear. Everyone can go back. The door of the conference room opened, and a staff member of Shianayu Group pushed the door in and said politely. He had no idea what happened inside. Su Yi asked him to pass on a message, so he came naturally. Where is your chairman? I'm the representative of Zhuangsheng Group. He should know what our group represents in the medical industry. I want to meet him again to discuss in detail. I am the CEO of the Great Jiuzhou District of Huangru Group. I have something very important to discuss with your chairman Su. Please be sure to convey it. I will wait for him here. Surrounded by a group of bigwigs, the young employee was a little stage frightened for a while, but thinking of what Su Yi had just said, he still said with a stiff upper lip, "Everyone, Chairman Su asked me to see you off. If you don't want to leave, I will ask the security to come." Su Yi didn't want to waste too much time with these dead bones in the grave. He told them this before, just to let them die with a clear mind. In the last period of his life, He should repent for what he did, or feel what despair is after the meeting. He left the company point. After getting in the car, Yuling asked, "Where are the others? Do the masterminds behind these people need to be caught and dealt with one by one?" "No. Hurry." Suyi shook his head. "These people are all over the world. It would be a waste of time for you to find them one by one. I will find some strong people from your world later and settle them one by one. Just think of it as giving them a few more days to live." Ling's evil magic that can kill a whole family with just one drop of blood is really awesome point, but after all, it also requires a drop of blood point, and it doesn't mean that any drop of blood will do. It has to be blood extracted by her magic point this time. There are a lot of enemies provoked at once. It would be a waste of time for her to go up and kill them one by one point anyway. There are many powerful people in the magic world point, especially the star prayer that Wu Wei has found for him point. After holding these powerful powers in his hands, none of these people can escape point. He has this supernatural power, and now he is very restrained not to kill innocent people point. If others want to provoke him, don't blame him for not eating beef point anyway. He can't see how people die, and killing a lot of people is just a number to him point. There is no psychological burden at all point. If he is really irritated, he doesn't mind giving the people of this world a little supernatural power shock. Kaiju has been in contact, right? Is there any news coming back? On the other side of the distant ocean, in a luxurious manner, two big men who can shake the entire bald eagle empire with a stomp of their feet are leisurely enjoying the coolness of the evening breeze in the manor. There has been news that Suyi directly rejected our representative. The other party did not even give our representative a chance to speak. Haha, it's expected. Cheers, how people have always been like this, stubborn and don't know how to lift up. What should we do next? With the emergence of this kind of drug, the medical industry will definitely be in trouble in the future. Let the Black Palace announce sanctions against Xianyu Group first, and by the way, tighten the other sanctions against Jiazhou, especially in the high-end manufacturing field such as Jingjian. They can't break through this for the time being, which should make them uncomfortable for a while. Remember to guide public opinion, and then we have to take the opportunity to get out of the medical industry. Chapter 77. Suyi didn't care about the storm brewing in the invisible place point. The reason is still the same. When he has the ability to easily kill anyone in the world, he doesn't need to be afraid of anything point, because no matter what kind of organization or force it is people who have to make decisions in the end point. Physical destruction has always been the easiest way to eliminate opponents. After solving a little trouble, he went home to pick up Yang Yi point. She and her roommates had dinner at noon, and it was almost time point. As for Yuling, Yang Yi originally wanted to ask her to go together, of course. Suyi had no objection point. However, as a professional wingman, Yuling did not want to interfere with the hard-won opportunity for the two to cultivate their relationship alone. So she did not follow point. As for Suyi's safety, she left a protective magic circle on Suyi, which would be activated when in danger, and she would rush over as soon as she got the news. According to Ling's estimation, even if this thing was directly bombarded with a 155 howitzer, it would take more than a dozen shots to blast it open point. As for individual weapons such as guns, even if the barrel is broken, it is impossible to break the magic circle point. This is Jiazhou. Except for the official, no one has the firepower to break the magic circle point, and the official is impossible to touch Suyi point, not to mention that he is going to the downtown area point. Which country's official will use heavy firepower to attack the downtown area of their own city during non-war time? So there is basically no need to worry about safety point, and Suyi himself is not a weak chicken now. Although he has no patience to learn magic, he has been eating all kinds of magic food and drinking water of life these days. According to Yuling's estimation, his current strength is stronger than many warriors in the magic world point. If you are willing to study tricks and practice martial arts hard, it is not difficult to become a genuine knight point with his brute force. Ordinary 10 people are afraid that they can't get close to him. You are dressed so beautifully today. I thought you were going on a blind date. In the garage, Suyi saw Yang Yi who was dressed up carefully and couldn't help but joked point the girl ate and drank for free at his place these days, and she really ate a lot of good things from the magic world point. She was already at a beautiful age full of youth, and now, under the nourishment of these good things, she looked as beautiful as if she was glowing when she stood there. Don't you look in the mirror? How dare I go out with you alone if you don't dress up beautifully? Yang Yi sat in the co-pilot and complained. Every time I go out with you and Sister Yuling, I feel like a little maid carrying a bag. Has anyone told you too that you have a scary aura when you are outside? It's that kind of noble feeling. Really? Suyi raised his eyebrows. He really didn't pay much attention to this aspect point. However, the influence between the two people is mutual point. Yuling has a noble status in the other world and has her own aura. Suyi has been with her for a long time, and his words and deeds will naturally be affected subconsciously. Point it is normal for the aura to become stronger over time. Of course I do. So in order to prevent people from mistaking me for your maid, when I go out with you alone, I have been dressing up carefully for the whole morning. Pretty, right? Yang Yi pouted and poked her face with her hand. Not bad. Suyi gave a fair evaluation point. Compared with Yuling, it can only be considered pretty good point, but if she were to be placed outside, she would be a top beauty who would beat countless internet celebrities. You are just eating too much bran. You need to be treated. Sister Yuling is so beautiful. Where else in the world can you find another one? So Yi thought of the star prayer who might be sent by Wei soon. It's hard to say. You have talked the world to death. Yang Yi said angrily. Suyi also changed the topic. By the way, you asked me to pretend to be your boyfriend. How do I pretend? What if there is some intimate interaction? Interaction is interaction. I don't mind. Do you mind? How about demonstrating it now? Yang Yi put her hand on Suyi's right hand. After Yuling's long-term brainwashing, she is much more open than when they first met. And she also knows that Yuling doesn't mind that he has an affair with Suyi and has even been actively promoting it, so she doesn't have any psychological pressure at this moment. If you don't mind, then it's easy. Suyi took the opportunity to pinch her leg. Isn't it cold to wear so little? Brother, you can touch it if you want. It's 40 degrees outside. Yang Yi rolled her eyes at him. Oh, I forgot. The dinner venue is about 200 or 300 yuan per person, which is not a very cheap restaurant. Yang Yi said that she didn't plan to come to such an expensive place today. But her roommate's boyfriend is said to have some money, and he doesn't like ordinary restaurants, and insists on this place. And he is also the one who pays the bill, so of course the others have nothing to say. When the two arrived, it was just dinner time. Although the consumption here is not cheap, it is still crowded. It is said that the main dish is local specialty. As soon as he arrived at the door of the box, Suyi saw a group of young people chatting enthusiastically. It was not until they saw the two people coming that they suddenly became quiet. Almost all the boys' eyes were focused on Yang Yi, while the girls in the box all looked at Suyi. After being stunned for a long time, one of the girls looked at Yang Yi and was stunned again. Then quickly stood up and said, Yi, why did you come just now? I haven't seen you for a month. I missed you so much. After a few pleasantries, Yang Yi introduced Suyi to others, and then the two sat down. As soon as they sat down, the girl couldn't wait to pull Yang Yi and asked, Yi, I haven't seen you for more than a month. Why do you feel that you have become more beautiful again? Tell me honestly, what skincare products have you used recently? You don't recommend good things to your sisters. Damn it, skin care products. Does the water of life count as a drink? Yang Yi complained in her heart. But she is not a person who doesn't go online, so she naturally knows how popular the water of life is now. It's okay to pretend to be small at a classmate reunion, but she feels guilty for pretending to be so big. I don't use any skincare products. I just go to bed early and get up early and eat and drink regularly during the holidays. The eating and drinking regularity is reasonable Suyi doesn't know how she can say such nonsense as going to bed early and getting up early. Point who the hell is watching horror movies in the living room at 3 in the morning and not sleeping? But at this time, he must not spoil the show and just look at his phone as a tool. Point. But a boy next to him suddenly took over the conversation and said, skincare products. Do you know the water of life that is very popular recently? I heard that it works better than any skincare products. Drinking it directly can beautify your skin. It's been hyped up on the internet. I can't buy it, even if I want to. Chapter 78. Is the water of life so good? I see a lot of people on the internet are talking about it. How is the actual effect? Have any of you tried it? 1. Girl asked curiously, where can I try? SYNOPSIS Medical has only released 300,000 bottles of the basic version of the water of life, 188.88. Every time it is released, it is sold out in less than a second. I don't know the world, there are so many rich people online. A boy complained, then looked at his girlfriend aside. I originally planned to grab one for you, but I really can't. There's nothing I can do about it. The girl looked unhappy and said, I don't care. There will definitely be something for sale later. You have to help me grab it. The beauty blogger I follow tested the water of life live, and the effect was so good. After one bottle, the wrinkles and blemishes on my face disappeared, and even my hair became much smoother, and any yellowing or split ends disappeared. Yes, I must buy it. Suyi, who had been eating melon since he came in, couldn't help but frown. Point. When he released the basic version of the water of life, his original intention was to make some people experience less pain and suffering. Point. Although the price is not cheap at 88.88, it is completely worth it for many people who have less serious chronic diseases and need to take medicine for a long time. Point. At the same time, the high price is also due to the consideration of setting a certain threshold. Point. In order to prevent all kinds of people from rushing to buy, the people who really need it will not be able to get it. Point. Unexpectedly, he still underestimated some people. Point. It's okay to promote the water of life into skincare products. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but felt it was unnecessary. Point. There are definitely more than 1 or 2 people who use eau de vie skincare products. Any big reason here is a complete waste of saliva. Point. It is better to think about how to improve the sales mechanism of water of life. Point. For example, the quantity released each time is no longer sold publicly on the internet, but is connected with the official hospitals. And knows how to provide some cooperation with the regular hospitals. Water of life. I have it. Let's have a friend. In 2 days, I will give one to each of the beauties present. Just when Suyi was thinking, the boy who first mentioned the water of life suddenly laughed and said, as if such a good thing as the water of life was not worth mentioning here. Point. Suyi couldn't help but glance at him suspiciously after hearing this. Although the water of life is sold online, identity verification is required, and one person is limited to purchasing 1 bottle. Point. Coupled with a quick grab, it fundamentally eliminates the possibility of scalpers snatching it and reselling it to make money. Point. So in theory, one person can only buy 1 bottle at most. Point. Give 1 to each of the girls present. That's 4. Being able to deliver so much at once meant that he definitely had more water of life in his hands. Where did it come from? Of course, it's not ruled out that this guy's bragging. Point. After all, he didn't say he would give it now. Point. But if it's the former, then the problem is huge. Get 1 for each person. Do you really have so much water of life on your hands? I remember that buying this thing is limited. Before Suyi could ask, someone helped her ask the question. It was the boy who just said that the water of life was hard to snatch, and his girlfriend complained about it. There must be a limited number when buying online, but I didn't buy mine online. The boy said proudly. My brother used to be an executive at a pharmaceutical company in Shanghai. Later, the pharmaceutical company was acquired by SYNOPSIS Medical, and he became an executive at SYNOPSIS Medical. Employees in their company are rationed with water of life. Let me tell you a secret again. You must not reveal it to the outside world. The basic version of the water of life is nothing at all. Even the advanced version of the water of life that SYNOPSIS Medical's official website says can treat cancer is nothing. Their company also has a more powerful version. It is said that 1 bottle can cure any disease, and 3 bottles can even extend your life. So, Yi didn't think there was any problem after hearing the previous words. Shia Group's internal employees do have a quota of water of life point. If his brother's position in Shia Medical is relatively important and the salary is high enough, it is completely reasonable and legal to have a few basic versions of EAUD life on hand point. If people are willing to keep such good things for their families, the company has nothing to do with them point but the problems. He mentioned later were even bigger. The water of life that can prolong life has never been intended to be spread on a large scale, and it is impossible to spread it on a large scale point. Regarding this matter, every internal staff member of Shia Medical is fully aware of the situation and has signed a confidentiality agreement point. But now that it was said from such a person, the matter was not that simple. What's your brother's name, Sue? Yi asked directly point. The boy who was bragging so enthusiastically was stunned and looked at Su Yi in surprise. Brother, who my brother is, shouldn't have anything to do with you, right? He is not stupid, or his brother should have told him not to spread these secrets to others. When he told him these things, it's okay. It's a big deal. If you don't want to say it, forget it. So, Yi didn't bother to talk to him. So he directly picked up the phone and said, Shu, you should have seen it too. Please deal with it. Yes, sir. Looking at the text that appeared on the screen, Su Yi put down the phone and stopped paying attention. The boy was obviously a little confused. Seeing that Su Yi didn't ask any more questions, he continued to brag without thinking much about it. The food soon began to be served in the private room. It must be said that even with Su Yi's current picky taste, the dishes in this restaurant are indeed very desirable. It's just that the ingredients are still a little bit lacking, and they can't compare to those magic foods at all. He put down his chopsticks after tasting it and didn't intend to continue eating. Yang Yi was similar. Living in Su Yi's house these days, her appetite has become picky, and these ordinary dishes are a bit hard to eat. Others were very happy to eat. They all praised the guy who treated them for his vision. Only then did Su Yi know that the guy who treated them just happened to be the guy who boasted just now, named Li Wu. The atmosphere in the private room has always been harmonious, but I didn't see any plots like the classmates reunion that pretended to be cool and slapped in the face in the novel. If nothing unexpected happens, this should be a good dinner experience. But things are often like this. If nothing unexpected happens, there will definitely be an accident. Halfway through the meal, Li Wu's phone suddenly rang. He gestured to others to be quiet, then picked up the phone and answered it. Hello, Mom. What's wrong? I'm having dinner with my classmates. What? My brother was arrested. Why was he arrested? Leaked secrets? It wasn't me. I was having dinner with friends. What secrets could I leak? Go ask Dad. He likes to brag to his business friends when he's drunk every day. It must have been him who leaked it. My brother said that I was talking nonsense outside, and the chairman of Shia Group heard it? How is that possible? How could I know the chairman of Shia Group? Chapter 79. Li Wu was confused when he received the call. Su Yi also received the latest news from Shu. Sir, the matter has been investigated. Li Cheng, the director of the market management department of Shia Medical Company, has a younger brother named Li Wu. After our people found Li Cheng also confessed that he disclosed company secrets to his family. In addition, I also found that Li Cheng used his position to illegally obtain hundreds of water of life in a short period of time. A small part of them he gave to his family, and most of them flowed into the second-hand market from him. Li Cheng also made millions of profits in a short period of time. The way he obtained the water of life was to use his position to purchase the water of life benefits issued by the company to other employees. If he encountered someone who refused to sell, he would coerce and induce, which was very bad. I have reported it to the authorities, and Li Cheng has been arrested. And how to deal with the people in his family who know these secrets, you still need to decide. How do you think it should be dealt with? Su Yi asked back. According to the law, all insiders should sign a confidentiality agreement. As long as they don't reveal the matter later, the matter will be considered over. If they don't want to sign, they can go through other legal procedures to resolve it. This matter is not big or small. I suggest that you don't interfere and let the company's legal department resolve it. Obviously, as an intelligent AI, Xianshu prefers to work within the framework of rules. I don't want Suyi to kill people directly to silence them. Point. But this matter was originally a small matter for Suyi, and he didn't want to kill the whole family. Point. After giving Xianshu an order to do it, he didn't manage it. Point. In the private room, Li Wu, who was still boasting about how good the effect of the water of life was, and how much water of life he had drunk, was already confused. After answering the phone. He was pale and sweating. He spoke loudly just now, and naturally other people in the box heard it. After such a thing happened, no one could eat. No one cared about what would happen to Li Wu's brother. Everyone was more concerned about themselves just now. When Li Wu was bragging, he said that this was a big secret and asked others not to spread it. Now, Li Wu's brother who spread the news was arrested. This is really a bit scary, knowing that they might have heard something they shouldn't have heard. Everyone in the box looked unhappy. That, you told us about those things your brother said. Nothing will happen, right? Li Wu's girlfriend asked cautiously. However, Li Wu shook his head palely. It's over. Don't have any fluke mentality. Xianyu Medical has filed a lawsuit against my brother, and I guess there are people from the police station in Jiangcheng looking for me, and they will find me here soon. As he said this, he seemed a little confused. Chairman of Xianyu Group, I haven't told anyone other than you about these things these days. There is no chairman of Xianyu Group. Speaking of this, he suddenly froze for a moment and looked at Suyi, who was drinking tea calmly not far away. Brother, you asked me what my brother's name was just now. What on earth do you want to do? Suyi glanced at him lightly and said, I'm the chairman of Xianyu Group, Li Wu. He thought of what happened just now and suspected that Suyi was also a member of Xianyu Group or had some relationship with Xianyu Group, and spread what they said secretly, and then spread it to the ears of the chairman of Xianyu Group. So his brother was dealt with. As for Suyi being the big boss behind Xianyu Group, he had never thought about this after all. Suyi now looks younger than everyone present, and those who don't know him would think he is a junior from somewhere. Who has such a big imagination that he can think of the boss of Xianyu Group, which has been in the limelight recently and is estimated by some institutions to have a market value of no less than 100 billion if it goes public, is such a young man. The private room fell into silence again for a while. Some people couldn't help wanting to leave. But when they thought about the fact that they had heard the business secrets of a big company and that an inspector might come to look for them soon, they were a little afraid to leave. After all, if they stayed, they could explain the matter clearly, saying that they had only heard it and had never spread it and would not spread it in the future. At most, they would be fine if they signed a confidentiality agreement. But if they ran away, who could prove that they had not passed on such secrets to others? It would be troublesome to deal with it at that time. The atmosphere was a little dull for a while. Yang Yi couldn't sit still for a while and pulled Suyi's hand and said, can we leave? If you want to leave, just say it earlier. I thought you were going to wait for them. Suyi smiled, stood up and prepared to leave. Just as he walked to the door, he heard Li Wu Dao, you can't leave. You have heard everything. If you leave here and spread the secret to more people, it will only cause more trouble. My brother said when he contacted the family just now that Xianyu Group will never let this matter go. The more it spreads, the more serious the situation will be. It's for your own good to let you stay here and wait. Yi shrugged, not bothering to pay attention to him. His brother Li Cheng is not a good person. He doesn't go to work, but makes money by doing these things. This Li Wu may not be a good person. He is so arrogant when he starts to brag that he wants to give people the water of life. When he said this, his eyes were almost glued to Yang Yi. Suyi was too lazy to say what the purpose was. The little head controlled the big head, and when he went out, he pulled the brain to the stuff at home. Not letting others go is naturally not for the good of others, but just to take less responsibility. Click. Just as he walked to the door, Suyi hadn't even stretched out his hand to open the door, and someone pushed the door in first. The one who came at this time was naturally the supervisor. I have to say that the official speed is really fast. After hearing that, Xianyu Group reported to the police that someone leaked commercial secrets and obtained relevant information. In less than half an hour, the Magic City had arrested people, and Jiangcheng also came to the door. It can be seen that the upper level is paying attention to Xianyu Group now. If it were another company, the official efficiency would definitely not be so fast. The inspector was very polite. After briefly explaining his purpose, he asked everyone present to go to the police station with him. He also explained that they only needed to accept a simple investigation and sign a confidentiality agreement. Everyone in the private room breathed a sigh of relief. However, Suyi frowned and said, "I have other things to do here. I'm afraid I don't have time to go." As soon as he said this, everyone in the private room was stunned. A young detective was about to come over to reason with Suyi and ask them to cooperate with their work. But before he could speak, he was stopped by the captain next to him, and then the captain politely said, "Excuse me, who are you?" "I am Suyi." "Okay, Mr. Su, take care." The captain immediately made way for the door and let Suyi lead Yang Yi out directly. The people in the private room were stunned. After a long while, a boy said indignantly, "Why can they leave directly? But we have to be investigated, because he is the chairman of Xianyu Group." The inspection team leader who figured out the whole story was speechless. It's a genius to leak the secrets of the company in front of the chairman of the company. Chapter 80. What will happen after they are taken to the police station? School will start in 2 days. Will it affect their schooling after coming out? Yang Yi couldn't help asking. Not really. They can come out after signing a confidentiality agreement. They can't stay for a day. Suyi said casually, "I think you should be more concerned about what we are going to do in the afternoon." Originally, the group would have other activities after dinner. Since Suyi is here, it is natural for him to accompany Yang Yi to play. Now that her classmates have been arrested, why play in the market? How about going to a movie? Yang Yi suggested, but she shook her head as soon as she said it. No, there are no good movies recently. It would be a waste of time to go. After thinking about it, she couldn't think of anything fun. After all, it was so hot, and outdoor activities basically didn't need to be considered. There really weren't many things to play indoors in the end. The two didn't go to play anything deliberately. They just blew the wind by the river for an afternoon. Looking at the boats coming and going on the river and chatting with the little beauty, Suyi felt it was quite interesting. Today was the day he had agreed to trade with Wei Wei and Beilu, but that was in the evening, so there was no rush. Xianchu was in charge of the company's affairs, so he, the big boss, didn't have to worry about it. There was nothing to do at home. Sitting by the river and chatting with Yang Yi made him feel like he was in the quiet days of his first love. Apart from anything else, Yang Yi's temperament and appearance were in line with most people's definition of first love. She was a pure white moonlight type. However, a single man and a single woman would naturally become more and more ambiguous as they chatted. "It's a bit hot here. Why don't we find a cool place to rest?" Hearing Yang Yi's blushing request, Suyi tentatively said, "Go to the hotel?" Yeah, it was natural and came naturally. In short, on such a quiet afternoon, the last layer of window paper was easily broken. Yang Yi, who had just experienced 6, was not hypocritical. She drank a few sips of the water of life and was fully revived. Then he pulled Suyi to go shopping and have supper with full energy. When they got home, it was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. Yuling was reading quietly at home. When she saw the two of them coming back, she looked at Yang Yi and couldn't help but raise her eyebrows. But she was not surprised. This was the result of her instigation. "You guys chat. I have something to deal with. I'll come down later." So Yi said hello and went upstairs. It's time to do the transaction agreed today. As for the problem of getting along between Yuling and Yang Yi, he shouldn't worry about it. Yuling will handle it. Why is it so late this time? In the trading space, Wei Wei expressed her dissatisfaction as soon as she appeared, and then gave Suyi the prepared things. Most of them are magic plants and monster flesh and blood, and some magic plant seeds, as well as some magic tools prepared according to Suyi's requirements. 5 longbows with amazing power engraved with magic, a razor magic cloak with full defense, and even ordinary people can fly for a short time with this item. There are also some swords and the like. The magic cloak was requested by Yuling, mainly for Suyi to defend himself. And those magic weapons were purchased by Chenyi after he traded with Bailu from another world. Bailu should be more interested in this kind of thing. To purchase these items, Suyi only needs to pay 20,000 tons of food left over from the last transaction. It's better to prepare the powerful weapons that mortals in your world can use for me as soon as possible. We are afraid that there will be a big war in Mengchuan City recently. After the transaction was completed, Wei Wei said with a serious face. With Suyi's recent large-scale food support, Wei Wei's demand for food in a short period of time is not too great. The people who originally surrounded Mengchuan City have been surrounding it without attacking, waiting for the city to run out of food. Now it is found that the food in the city is not only not running out, but is increasing. Now even ordinary people in Mengchuan City can have 2 full meals a day. This made the coalition forces besieging the city a little uneasy. She received reliable information that the coalition forces might plan a large-scale attack on Mengchuan City in the near future. If they can't stop it, it will only take a few days to break the city. If they can stop it, the situation will probably be quiet for a while. I'm a little curious. Didn't you say that you are the princess of the Qiang Empire? They have been fighting around your territory for several years, and your empire won't give you any support. I can't count on it. Wei Wei waved her hand and said, originally, Mengchuan City is located on the border and was abandoned by the Empire Center, but this is my territory and I don't want to give it up, so I've been holding on until now. Ganging in Mengchuan City is my personal behavior, and the Empire will naturally not send reinforcement. A place abandoned by the Empire? Suyi was a little puzzled. From what you said before, Mengchuan City is a border town that can accommodate hundreds of thousands of people and has strong city defenses, right? Such a place. You just say you don't want it? Could it be that your empire has recently suffered a defeat somewhere else, or the internal situation has been rotten, and there are no soldiers available at all? Of course not. We found a place to sit down and poured a glass of water of life for herself and Suyi. The situation is complicated. To give you a simple summary, my father is old and senile and can't handle state affairs at all. Now the power of the center is in the hands of my brothers. According to the news from the imperial capital, the competition for the throne between them has reached a white-hot stage. The entire empire is vaguely ignited by the smoke of civil war, but the scale of the war is still within the controllable range and has not spread completely. Now, there are at least 1 million troops gathered around the imperial capital. All of them are fiery. The most elite army of the Qiang Empire obeys the orders of the 4 princes. It is foreseeable that once the father dies, an uncontrollable civil war will break out. In this case, who would send troops to save a small marginal city? For them, it's just territory. The Qiang Empire is so big that losing a little bit is nothing. But if the throne is lost, it will be a complete loss. Not to mention that I'm one of the heirs to the throne and I'm also qualified to participate in the scramble. They wish I would die in Mengchuan City. How could they support me? Good guy. The civil war is about to start before the emperor dies. This is more exaggerated than the corpses being kept and the armor being tied. Suyi's mouth twitched, not quite understanding what these people in the other world are thinking. But when he looked at Wei Wei's calm expression, he felt that this woman might not be simple. It is estimated that defending Mengchuan City is not just to defend her own territory. When the civil war in the Qiang Empire really breaks out, it is not certain who will have the last laugh. Chapter 81. Do you want to become the Empress of the Blazing Sun Empire? Su Yi asked suddenly without any warning. Why do you think I'm qualified to participate in this kind of thing? Wei Wei raised her eyebrows. As the youngest princess, the territory of Mengchuan City is still barren, and now she is in jail, unable to protect herself. What can I do to fight for the throne? Su Yi looked around. With this, it's enough. The Initial territory is small, there are few people in the territory, the external environment is bad, and the political capital is insufficient. Are these problems? Of course it does, and it's a big problem point with so many buffs stacked on him. Blue Star would obviously not be qualified to participate in the race for the heir, regardless of ancient or modern times, but Wee has one biggest advantage, which is enough to make up for her shortcomings. That is a trading platform point, to put it bluntly. She is guilty. I'm afraid whether it's enough depends on how much support you can provide. Wee joked, just what you showed me before, that thing in your world, mushroom egg. Yes, this is it. Send me a few coins and I will be crowned emperor within a month. When the time comes, I will make you the Duke of the Blazing Sun Empire, and give you a territory of hundreds of thousands square kilometers and tens of millions of people. What the hell is the difference between me being Qin Shi Huang and Crazy Thursday V? I'm 50. Suyi was a little speechless. You can't get this thing now. Stop dreaming and talk about reality. It's just guns and artillery. How many do you think are needed to make you ascend to the throne? He showed these weapons to Wee through some videos. These weapons require too much logistics. If you can ensure that the logistics can keep up, then within a year, I should be able to capture half of the empire. As for the other half, it depends on luck. Wee didn't say too much. Explain point. Obviously, as an ancient empire that has been inherited for hundreds of thousands of years, the Blazing Sun Empire itself is not that simple point. Even if she is the emperor's biological daughter, her strength alone is not enough if she wants to ascend to the throne. Suyi remembered that the island he acquired from the Aosao Alliance should be handed over soon. After thinking for a moment, he said, at the latest, within a month, I will be able to supply you with various conventional thermal weapons in large quantities, until I support you in fighting the civil war and becoming the Empress of the Blazing Sun Empire. As for what you have to pay, it goes without saying what the title is. I can't even go to your world, so what's the use of this thing? I need you to provide a complete set of theories and knowledge related to magic. How about it? Compared with things that are invisible and intangible, the mature magic system of the entire magic world is obviously more attractive. However, this kind of thing is also a treasure at the bottom of the box for Wee. It is one of the biggest advantages of her world compared to Suyi's side. It's something like a technical barrier. Suyi had not even mentioned this request before. Now that the other party needs his help, he just needs his help. After a moment of silence, Wee gave her own answer. Even though the Blazing Sun Empire has existed for so many years, the royal family's collection of books cannot be said to include everything related to magic. What I can promise you is to help me ascend the throne and give you the hundreds of thousands of years of magic and martial arts knowledge passed down by the imperial family of the Blazing Sun Empire. As for anything else, I can't do anything else. Alright. Suyi didn't choose. In short, just develop a complete magic system and practice method first. One of the reasons why he is too lazy to practice magic is that Yuling's elf magic is not very compatible with humans. Even if he wanted to learn it, he would get twice the result with half the effort. Totally worth the loss. The two briefly chatted about the general direction of cooperation in the future, and then talked about another serious matter today. Wee was the first to speak. The star prayer is already waiting. Give me an intermediate life transaction permission card, and I will bring her over now. After buying the junior matching card last time, Suyi only had a few dozen membership points left. However, after the transaction just ended, the trading platform gave him nearly 100 points. The current membership points are more than 140. It takes 100 points to purchase an intermediate life trading permission card, and the remaining points can be used to give her a whole world language pass card to avoid language barriers when she goes to Blue Star. Without further words, Suyi bought the trading card and used it. Wee, who had unlocked the permission to trade lives, immediately brought the star prayer that had been prepared long ago into the trading space. Even though he was prepared, Suyi was still shocked the moment he saw the other party. Just looking at their looks, she and Juling can only be said to be on paragraph, but there is a big difference in temperament. The moon is as gentle as water, and the star prayer feels an indescribable calmness and elegance just by standing there. You must be Mr. Suyi, right? After looking at each other for a short time. Star Prayer took the lead. In saluting point, Suyi also cupped his fists and said, "Yes, the first time we met, the famous Star Prayer really lived up to his reputation and was unparalleled in his magnificence. Thank you. I have read the letter that Princess Yuling gave me. Princess Wei also briefly shared some information about your place." Star Prayer said straight to the point. "I want to confirm again. If I agree to your conditions and take my tribe to your place, will I really be free from any discrimination and oppression?" Discrimination and oppression are everywhere, and this is absolutely unavoidable. Suyi shrugged and said, "What I can guarantee is that after your people go to my place, the reason for discrimination and oppression is not because of origin and bloodline, and the status will not be lower than that of the natives there. Just like I said before, if you don't believe it, you can go and see it yourself, and it's not too late to make a decision after seeing it." Okay. The Star Prayer agreed without hesitation. He was even a little impatient, because in the letter Yuling gave her, that place had been described as no different from the legendary Kingdom of God. This is especially true for their group, that is discriminated against and excluded by the mainstream in the magic world. In this case, let's sign the contract first. So, Yi took out the transaction contract that he had prepared long ago. The terms in the contract are of course different from those signed by Yuling before. Yuling went to Blue Star and didn't plan to go back. And if the Star Prayer found that Blue Star didn't match Suyi's description, he would definitely return to the magic world. He is also a top powerhouse in the magic world, second only to those magic gods and martial gods. He is not a fool. So he will not sign a transaction contract that is no different from a contract of selling his body. The content of the contract she signed is roughly that after she goes to Blue Star, she needs to obey all reasonable orders of Suyi, abide by local rules, and not do anything wrong. But Suyi cannot do anything wrong to her and force her to do something she doesn't want to do. Once either party breaches the contract will be terminated and the Star Prayer will be sent back to the magic world. It can be said that this contract is a certain guarantee for both parties. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82. My name is Suyi. You should know it by now. Now that the contract is signed, we will probably get along for a long time, and I don't know your name yet, Lan. Crossing in the bedroom, Suyi asked, looking at the goddess-like Star Prayer with long aqua hair and a tall figure who walked out of a painting. Name? No one has asked me this for a long time. The Star Prayer pondered for a moment and said, my original name was Weedao. If you like it, call it this, Weeds. Suyi didn't expect that one of the top combat forces in the magical world would have such a casual name. But when I think about her life experience and the situation in the magical world, it seems quite reasonable. After all, this kind of mixed race child is discriminated against and ostracized in the magical world. Grandma doesn't love those who uncle doesn't love. Isn't it? Just as humble as a weed. Whether Suyi likes the name or not is secondary. The main thing is that he can clearly see that the Star Prayer definitely doesn't like it. He's not stupid enough to actually call him that. If someone tells him to looking at her purple robe embroidered with stars, Suyi suddenly had an idea and said, the name Weedao is too random. How about I give you a name from our world? Star Prayer didn't seem to care too much about this kind of thing. He was currently looking at the environment of the bedroom. When he heard this, he just said oh to indicate that he was casual. Names don't mean much to her anyway. There are really not many people in the magical world who can call him by his first name. After all, everyone only has one life. Who in the whole world doesn't know that Star Prayer hates that humble name that inherently indicates inferiority? Let's call him Xinghan. Xinghan. The Star Prayer had already used the world language access card, so he could naturally understand what these two words meant. Then he seemed to be a little interested and turned to Suyi. What's the meaning? No. Suyi shrugged, looking at the tracks of stars all over your clothes. I'll call you Xinghan, mainly because it sounds nice. The Star Prayer nodded, but didn't say much. Then I will be called Xinghan in this world. So, Yi felt that this woman was really a bit of a girl without any emotions. She was like an emotionless robot. She didn't seem to care much about anything other than whether Blue Star was suitable for those mixed race people to live in. Why don't you go out and take a look? Seeing her looking around so curiously, Suyi suggested. Xinghan walked to the window and opened the curtains. It's so late. What can I see? This is a suburb, and the villa faces a lake point at this point. If you open the curtains, you will naturally see nothing but darkness. It's only around 11 o'clock in the evening, and the nightlife just started. Suyi greeted. Let's go. Let Yuling take you out for a walk. I have something to do and need to go to the trading space. I will try to find a way to solve the identity problem for you tomorrow. But Xinghan still had no expression, as if he was letting Suyi arrange it. Yuling had already prepared for the arrival of the Star Prayer, and as an elf princess and a girl, it was always easier for her to communicate with Xinghan than Suyi. It just so happened that Suyi still had to go to the trading space to complete today's transaction with Beilu, and now he had no time to chat with Xinghan. After arranging the arrangement for this famous legendary powerhouse in the magical world, Suyi turned around and entered the trading space again. You're finally here. Do you know how long I've been waiting? As soon as he entered, Beilu's complaining sound reached his ears. Suyi quickly apologized and said with a smile, I'm really sorry, some things have been delayed. How do you feel about using the magic food and water of life I gave you last time? HMPH. Remember to be punctual next time. Beilu snorted lightly and then said, the effect is indeed good, and according to what you said, different people absorb these things with different efficiency. According to my personal test, it is true. Now, even if I don't wear power armor, I should be able to kill you with one punch. It's just late. You don't need to beat me to death. Suyi's mouth twitched. The other batch of magic food and water of life promised to you have been obtained. What are you going to give in exchange? Her situation is different from that of Wee. Wee has a high status in the magical world and can collect whatever she wants within the specified time point. Wee basically knew that she couldn't get it together. Therefore, when Suyi is trading with Wee, he can make an appointment in advance and then directly make the transaction when the time comes to get the agreed upon transaction items. But Beilu's status in their world was obviously not high. Suyi basically had to grab the good things she wanted, so of course there was no way to make a reservation. What she can offer for trade depends on what she has grabbed recently. A few days ago, I robbed someone of the intelligence brain of a giant company across the galaxy. Recently, the arrests have been strict around the Jade Star. It is not easy to do this kind of thing. Beilu scratched his head in embarrassment. However, the armaments issued by the Federation to our brigade have arrived. I can give you 10 sets of Hail class power armor standard for the Federation's low Earth orbit troops, as well as 3 Knight class landing craft. I wonder if you are interested. Arms. So, Yi was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes lit up. The armament is good. He quickly asked, what about power armor? What about landing craft? Hail class power armor is not a good thing for us. Its main purpose is to send the Vanguard Orbital Airborne Brigade from low Earth orbit to the surface when dealing with enemies on other planets. It is barely good among power armors of the same level, and the armor defense is also okay. The built-in energy shield is also at a level of the same level. The advantages are mature technology, strong and durable. In extremely harsh conditions, and without external supplies, it can also maintain combat effectiveness for a long time, and has strong self-sustaining ability. In short, it is a mediocre equipment that is neither good nor bad, but it is cheap and cost-effective. The standard weapon is an electromagnetic rifle with 500 rounds of ammunition. The power source is a 3rd generation macrofusion reactor. The output power of this thing is okay. It is the most valuable thing in the whole set of power armor. It is also equipped with primary military intelligent AI assistance. It doesn't really matter whether it has this thing or not. As for the landing craft, it is fully loaded with 1000 tons and can reach a maximum speed exceeding the 3rd cosmic speed. It is usually used for landing when our airborne brigade needs to be sent to fight for ground control after the starship completes the ground strike. If you lack the ability to transport from the ground to space, this is a good thing. Like the Halo level power armor, it has mature technology and is durable. Except for the core components, it is easy to repair if it breaks down. Chapter 83. When Bailu talked about these data, he showed his professionalism as an officer from another world. When the little mouth opens, it won't stop. Suyi's eyes widened when he heard each parameter. What the hell? These things can't directly dominate the starry sky when they go to blue star. It's awesome. But seeing Bailu getting more and more excited, Chenyi couldn't help but think of another question and said with a little worry, this is something your Federation issued to your army. Is it really okay for you to give it to me directly? What are you talking about? Bailu said without caring. Those modified people in the Interstellar Federation are very wealthy, so why would they care about a few power armors and a few landing crafts here? What's more, banditry has been rampant on the Sapphire Star recently. As the Low Earth Orbit Airborne Brigade under my command is an important force in maintaining the security of the Sapphire Star, it is normal to lose some equipment, right? I directly killed those who were loyal to the Federation in the army and reported their losses in battle. I also received their pensions, by the way. A few pieces of equipment are nothing. Got banditry is rampant. Aren't you the bandit yourself? As for the people who were loyal to the Federation in the killing army, they still received their pensions after killing them. This was quite explosive even when the ancient warlords and Kaishu were fighting. No wonder Suyi always felt that there was something gangster about this woman. The co-author is a real bandit, but it seems right when you think about it. He is a rebel with a lot of power in the Interstellar Federation. No matter what you do, it will damage the image of the Interstellar Federation. I do the bad things, enjoy the good things, and leave the blame to my opponent. If Suyi went alone, he would probably do the same thing as her. This guy is up to no good. Your Interstellar Federation is so technologically advanced. Is it possible that it can't control you at all? The Liuli Galaxy, where our Sapphire Star is located, is the border of the Interstellar Federation. It is originally a no-nonsense zone and only belongs to the Interstellar Federation in name. You may not believe it, but on the Sapphire Star, our Orbital Airborne Brigade is already considered a die-hard member of the Interstellar Federation. Directly related, I also often help the Interstellar Federation clear shipping lanes, protect resource planets, and quell some rebellions. Bailu sneered. Other forces here are even more aggressive than us. The new Jade Star governor sent by the Federation a few months ago, his entire team was killed on the second day after he took office. His body is still hanging at the door of the governor's mansion. I'm too lazy to collect his body. The Federation only cares about whether the Liuli Galaxy can turn over resources on a regular basis. Those reformers only think about relying on machinery to live forever. How can they care about the security here? What? A night city. Everyone is evil, right? Suyi didn't know what to say other than saying that he had gained more knowledge. Who would have thought that a civilization that could easily conduct interstellar navigation would be in such chaos? It's simply a ruin of etiquette and joy. After discussing the items to be traded, Bailu's efficiency was as fast as ever. He went directly to the warehouse and delivered the things Suyi wanted to him. It was not even unpacked when it was delivered. Even the instructions are still in the power armor and landing craft. All are 100% new, never opened. As for the question of what equipment Bailu's own menus after trading these equipment, Suyi is too lazy to ask now. People are greedy even for pensions. Isn't it normal to take advantage of them? It is estimated that these equipments are extra. After the transaction was completed, when the two were discussing the items for the next transaction, Suyi couldn't help but ask, this landing craft looks a bit small. Do you think you can give me a few of your starships that can carry out interstellar navigation? They can be used for civilian or military purposes. I've tried it, but it's not easy. Bailu burst into tears as soon as he opened his mouth. Before I came here today, I originally planned to build a starship to trade these things, but I found that if there are people in the starship, there is no way to put it into the space provided by the trading platform, and there are almost always people inside any starship at all times, even if it is being repaired. If You want to build a starship, you have to clear out the people inside first, but the starship is too big and has many internal identification systems, and almost all starships now have alien plane contact systems. It is easy to stay in it for a long time. Once the true identity of me and those under me is discovered, it is impossible to block the contact system and prevent the message from being sent out. So if I don't correct it, my identity will be exposed easily. When the news reaches the Federal Center, my position as the Supreme Commander of the Orbital Airborne Brigade will be over. She actually tried it, which Suyi never expected. Point. But it's normal to think about it. Point anyway. The things she traded were either stolen or greedy. Point. I don't feel bad for selling my field. Point. It is certainly worth it to her in exchange for something. Suyi can help her become stronger, and it is not difficult for Suyi to see from these two transactions with her that there are definitely many more powerful high technologies in their world. Her daring to do this is definitely not short-sighted, but there are too many good things that cannot be sold out. Okay, then when you have the chance, remember to help me build a boat. It's difficult. Bailey was quite honest, but as soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly had an idea. You have something like this that can make a person's body stronger out of thin air. I wonder if there are any very powerful human beings. If so, we can sign a lease contract. You send your people to my side, and I will show you the various types of starships we have. I will take your people to any starship you like, and let your people kill all the people or animals in the starship, and I will stuff the starship into the trading space, and the matter will be settled. Right, people from another world have robbed the starship, and even if the CPUs of those modified people in the Federation are burned, it is impossible to find out who did it. Lu became more and more excited as he spoke. He wished that Suyi could find a tough guy to do him a favor right now. Even Suyi's heartbeat accelerated when he heard this. If it was before, his high-end combat power was only a month old, and there was no guarantee that there would be no danger in such a thing, and he would definitely not agree. But it is different now. Didn't Xinghan just come? Her combat power in the magic world is second only to the god level. Robbing someone's defenseless technological world isn't that easy. Of course, he was not overwhelmed by the temptation of the starship. After calming down for a while, he said, give me the starship atlas and function introduction of your world first, and then I will use the power armor and landing craft you sent to study and decide whether to do this. Xinghan will most likely be one of us in the future, so if it works, it won't be a big deal to let her go. But he still doesn't know how advanced the weapons in Bailu's world are. What if they really have some powerful weapons that can deal with Xinghan? Then sending her there is like sending her away. Chapter 84. This request is obviously reasonable. After Suyi waited for about half an hour, Bailu returned to the trading space with a pile of information. There are information on more than a dozen starships of different levels here, including commercial starships, military starships, and civilian sightseeing starships. Actually, I can find detailed information on quite a few starships here, but these are the only starships I have personally visited, and know that the information is credible. In addition, I can't confirm the authenticity of those starship information, so I won't give it to you yet. You pick first, and let someone pick up which one you choose. Another fruitful day coming out of the trading space and looking at today's harvest, Suyi couldn't help but feel very good. It was actually already early in the morning. Glancing at the bedroom, Yuling had entered the room at some point and was sitting by the bed in her suspender pajamas, scrolling through her phone. It was no longer strange for him to suddenly appear in the room after returning from the trading platform. He just smiled and said, you're back, go to bed early, be careful next time when you torment Yi. It's not like you don't know your physical qualities. Her small body can't stand it. It's enough to give it a try. So, Yi's mouth twitched. Although he was thick-skinned, when he heard such words from his real wife, he still felt a little embarrassed. He was about to wave his hands and excuse himself to take a shower and run away. Unexpectedly, the phone rang suddenly. It was Xianshu who was contacting him. Suyi then remembered that he had brought his mobile phone with him when he entered the trading space. Of course, there was no signal from Blue Star in the trading space. It was probably that Xianshu had been looking for him for a long time, but he could not be contacted. That's why he contacted me again on some occasions. As soon as he came out, Master, something happened, which may not be good news for the development of Xianyu Group. As soon as the call was connected, Xianshu's voice came from the phone. What's up? Just 3 hours ago, the Bald Eagle Kingdom released the latest batch of sanctions against Kaishu companies, and Xianyu Group happened to be on it. The reason is that they believe that Xianyu Medical's water of life is an unstable and dangerous drug. Unless we can provide relevant papers to prove it from a principal level, the water of life will never be able to be traded in the Bald Eagle market, and the scope of their sanctions is not just Xianyu Medical's water of life, but the entire Xianyu Group, including Xianyu Farm, is within the scope of sanctions. The 2 shipments of nearly 200,000 tons of grain that you asked me to reserve before now either do not want to fulfill the contracts due to sanctions, or they want to take advantage of the situation and raise prices. Basically, major international grain merchants have made certain reactions to this sanction. I'm afraid you'll have to pay more if you want to buy from other merchants, and this, Suyi couldn't help being stunned for a moment. The water of life can overturn the entire medical industry, so he expected Xianyu Medical to be sanctioned by the Western world. But he didn't expect that these people were much more shameless than he imagined. The entire Xianyu Group was directly sanctioned, and even the grain purchased through fair trade with real money and silver on the farm had to be restricted in every possible way. It's so shameless. After pondering for a moment, he said to Xianshu, "What do you think? Have you prepared a solution?" Xianshu immediately replied, "After calculation, I think this matter may not be a bad thing for Xianyu Group. The current production of Xianyu Group's main product, water of life, is seriously insufficient, and it is not enough to supply the interior of Kaishu, let alone outside Kaishu. You yourself have no idea of selling the water of life abroad, so the impact of sanctions on the group has not been not big. On the contrary, it can also help the company gain greater fame, which is equivalent to the Bald Eagle giving the company free publicity. As for the treatment plans, I have prepared 2 sets at the moment. Option 1. Ignore it and just pretend it doesn't exist. As long as we show that we don't care enough and prove that we can achieve great results without expanding overseas industries, it will be them who are anxious. After all, this is the internet age. Their stigmatization of the water of life cannot last forever. After knowing the truth, when the people of the country find out that their own government has refused this miracle drug to enter the domestic market, they will be under great pressure. However, this is a long-term plan. In the short term, I'm afraid we can only stay silent and pretend that we don't know about this at all. I'm afraid this doesn't suit your personality, so I've prepared another plan that is to express your dissatisfaction and disdain for the so-called sanctions in a high-profile manner and use real technology to fight back this slap in the face. I would not have prepared this plan a week ago, but after you brought Blue Star's most advanced wafer technology and its production line, the situation has been completely different. Bald Eagle has been sanctioning Kaishu for a long time. As each restrictive technology is conquered by Kaishu, they actually have very few chips in their hands. It is currently the most difficult for Kaishu to break through the sanctions in a short time, but there are indispensable items. Jingyuan is definitely ranked first. Breaking their monopoly and sanctions on Jingyuan technology will definitely be a huge blow to Bald Eagle, and the technology you have is just right for that, isn't it? Besides, according to the original plan, the chip was actually supposed to be released in the past 2 days. Now it is only announced 1 or 2 days earlier than the original plan, which is harmless. You are really smart. Suyi chose the second option without any thought. A gentleman's revenge is never too late, but a villain's revenge is from morning till night. Suyi never claimed to be a gentleman, and he didn't have the patience to wait for 10 years. If he wanted to slap his opponent in the face right now, then carbon-based crystals would naturally be the best choice. He didn't even need to announce all the news in advance to disrupt the original sales plan. He only needed to use the official account of Xianyu Group to announce in advance that there was such a thing, and it would be on the market soon, which would be enough to make a big splash point of course. Revealing this news now would definitely be ridiculed by all kinds of people, but when Shia Technology takes out the finished product in a few days, the whole world would be looking at it point, since he wanted to slap his opponent in the face. He had to wait until his opponent opened the champagne and attracted enough hatred so that the slap in the face would be interesting. Chapter 85. Under Su Yi's instruction, Xian Shu used the official account of Xian Group to release a message on the internet that night. Good news, Xian Technology Company, a subsidiary of Xian Group, has recently made a major breakthrough in the field of carbon-based crystal research. It has now produced finished crystals, and its performance far exceeds the international top level. 3 days later, our company will hold a product launch conference at Jiangcheng Stadium. The future is here, so stay tuned. Not many words, and not much really useful things, but just the little bit that was revealed was already very explosive. The performance of the crystal far exceeds the international top level, and it is still carbon-based. And the company that released this information is Xian Group, a company that sells water of life and is deeply rooted in people's hearts. This is outrageous, no matter how you look at it. No. It's the middle of the night. Did I stay up all night to make my eyes blurry, far beyond the international top level? Carbon-based crystal. No. What is a carbon-based crystal? Can anyone tell me? Talking about trifles. The browser is free, and you will know to ask when you encounter something. What cyber-disabled people can't search because they don't have hands? Isn't this just playing word games? It is true that many people are researching carbon-based crystals, but there are not many finished products that can be used at present. The performance of carbon-based crystals far exceeds the international top level, but I'm afraid that it is not as good as the performance of silicon-based crystals 10 years ago. Isn't this just playing word games to deceive those who don't understand? Haha, I can already imagine that after this news spreads, those brainless people in the comments area of various websites will say win 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 again. That's right, Wolf Warrior is going to climax again. Carbon-based crystals. Hahaha, it belongs to bragging that you can't even understand. Didn't Xian Group say that it made a lot of money recently by relying on the water of life? Why is it still so ugly now, doing this kind of clickbait thing? Isn't it disgusting? What's there to say? I guess the price of water of life is not high anymore. There are not so many fools in the world who spend $88.88 to buy a bottle of useless beverage. They are opening a new track. You know, dude, you said water of life is useless after you used it. I really drank water of life. I was lucky enough to grab 2 bottles when it was released. I drank 1 bottle and gave 1 bottle to me. It has no effect after drinking it. Don't I know that I drank it? You can't say anything about your experience after using it. Only you water army can deceive people to spend money to buy wastewater, and the deceived people are not allowed to come out and reveal the truth. Right, you drank Nimu. Water of life is limited to purchase. One person can only buy 1 bottle. Your brother risked his life to buy 2 bottles. Do some homework before you criticize. Whether you believe it or not, I believe it anyway. I didn't believe that the water of life was real before until I drank a bottle and cured my hemorrhoids, athlete's foot, and wisdom teeth that I had suffered for many years. Then I became a diehard fan of Xian Group, let alone carbon-based crystals. Even if Xian Group said they were going to build a starship tomorrow, I would not doubt it at all. I'm the same. It is hard for people who have really drunk the water of life not to be grateful. Xian Group only sells this good thing for $88.88. It couldn't be more conscientious. With the popularity of the water of life, Xian Group is now at the forefront of the internet. In addition, Xian Shu controlled the internet fishing reel to deliberately add fuel to the fire. Xian Group was sanctioned by the Bald Eagle and then announced that it had conquered the carbon-based crystal technology. It soon became known to everyone on the internet. With traffic, there will naturally be controversy. After all, the internet environment these days is no different from a cesspool. Researching high-yield crops to feed countless people who were enough to become saints in ancient times, can be scolded in this environment. Not to mention anything else. People don't even need any reason to scold you. If you keep scolding each other, there will be no undisputed things in the world. After deciding the direction of things in general, Suyi didn't bother to care about these shitty things. He left it to Chai to deal with, and he took a quick shower and went to bed with Yuling in his arms. He was a little tired after running around all day. But he still didn't sleep until he woke up naturally. The next morning, just after dawn, Suyi was woken up by a phone call from Old Man Lin. "Boy, is your carbon-based wafer real or fake?" Yi looked at the time dazedly and said helplessly, "Brother, it's only 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm sleeping. Let's talk later. Don't hang up." Old Man Lin was immediately anxious. "How can you sleep at your age? I won't hide it from you. It's not that I'm curious, but many people above are curious. Do you know how much impact the news you sent out last night caused? It can be said that the whole world was shocked, but your company didn't release any useful information. Don't tell me that you got drunk in the middle of the night and played a joke on the world." Of course it's not a joke. The carbon-based wafer is real. It's also true that the performance leads the world's top level, and it's not a word game. Our carbon-based wafer supports 1 nm, can be mass-produced, and the output is not low. It is much better than the most advanced silicon-based wafer in all aspects. Yi explained a few words casually, and then hung up the phone impatiently. "Early in the morning, if you call me again, I will block you. Beep. Beep beep." Listening to the busy signal from the phone, Old Man Lin, sitting in a bright conference room, looked confused. The gentle old men sitting next to him were stunned on the spot. "Leo. Cheng. Leo Zao, don't be in a daze. You should have heard what he said. Tell me what he said." Old Man Lin scratched his head and scratched his head anxiously when he saw the two of them in a daze. Ever since Shia Group released the news last night, officials have been paying attention. Originally, I wanted to contact someone from Shia Group to ask if it was true or false. But considering that it was too late, and this probably involved extremely important business secrets, asking the workers probably wouldn't yield much. So the higher-ups thought of sending Old Man Lin, who was most familiar with Suyi, to ask. In order to prevent Old Man Lin, an old man, from not understanding Jingyuan technology and knowing nothing about some professional terms, 2 experts in related fields were even sent overnight to observe to avoid missing any important information. But after he called and asked questions, the expert suddenly stopped talking, which made Old Lin feel very uncomfortable. It's up to you to tell whether it's useful or not. Finally, after he asked repeatedly, the old academician known as Leo Cheng came to his senses first and replied with trembling lips, If what he said is true, Shia Group has really mastered mature carbon-based wafer technology and has been able to mass produce 1 nm level wafers. Then, the West is interested in the semiconductor field, or law sanctions will become a joke." Another old man also said, "It's not just semiconductors. It also involves many precision processing fields. If you are not a scientific researcher, you have no idea what kind of technology is needed to make integrated circuits at the 1 nm level. But there is a premise for all this, and that is it is true." Old Lin, are you sure it is true? Now, I understand. Old Man Lin was confused by what the previous 2 people said about the technology and its functions, but in short, it was awesome. The last question, about whether Jingyuan was real or not, Old Man Lin said without even thinking, "What this kid says is outrageous every time, but it turns out that he never lies. So I believe it is true." Chapter 86. The public opinion on the internet was like a tsunami, but the Shia Group was still as stable as a rock and was not affected by the public opinion at all. After all, the company was managed by an emotionless AI. Without Suyi's further orders, Chianchi would only develop the company in the way it thought was most reasonable and plan for the future based on the existing company assets and market conditions. Seeing that the company's top management was as stable as a rock, the employees who were originally affected by the internet storm gradually settled down and were busy with their own things. The official was very anxious, not at all like the usual calm. In the past 2 days, He had repeatedly contacted Suyi through Old Man Lin several times. Suyi was so annoyed that he asked Xianxu to give the anxious scholars and researchers of the official a green light and leaked some technical information about carbon-based wafers. There was no need to teach them what the principle of carbon-based wafers was. Blue Star actually had this thing, but the technology was not mature enough compared to silicon-based wafers. There was no need to teach them how to make carbon-based wafers and what technology was needed. Let them understand the feasibility of this thing and know that Xianyu Group is not bragging and it can really be made. After all, this involves some top-level decisions and strategic designs of Jiuzhou officials. It is definitely a major event that can affect the national strategy to tear apart the shackles that the West has put on Jiuzhou in the field of semiconductors. It is normal for them to be anxious. Suyi can also understand in the case that it will not harm their own interests at all. It is nothing to give the official a glimpse. This little thing, with his instructions, is naturally very easy for Xianxu to do. However, what Suyi did not expect was that when he announced the carbon-based crystal technology, the West, which was originally thought to be anxious, did not move. It was really no movement. Not that there was movement and he didn't know it. After all, Xianxu was watching on the internet and nothing could escape Xianxu's eyes, so there was an embarrassing situation that he originally released the carbon-based crystal to respond to the sanctions of the bald eagle and slap the face of others, but they were not moved at all. Some people in China who opposed Xianyu Group or simply opposed Jiuzhou were in a carnival again when they saw this situation. The internet environment was in a mess. But the good news is that Suyi asked Xianxu to open all the information of these people. If you like to shout, you will not have a share of the water of life in the future. As for the fact that the carbon-based crystal was ignored by the person he wanted to slap in the face, Suyi didn't take it too seriously. If you are bluffing, then being ignored will naturally make you a clown and a laughing stock. But he is different. He has real technology, and even the finished product can be put on the market soon. By then, it will be clear who is the clown. At the same time, Clay and Gago, who had come to Suyi to discuss business overnight, also came to him again after returning to report. This time, they also brought a contract. The contract for the lease of the island. How John Yugo intends to lease a place called Delos Island on the Asan Ocean to Xianyu Group for 1 yuan. And completely open the entire Raozhou market to Xianyu Group, using it as a bargaining chip in exchange for the water of life that can prolong life. Of course, in addition to this, the contract also requires Xianyu Group to do some things. The messy pile looks very harsh, but in fact there are many loopholes in the content of the contract. Clay, who came with the contract, also pointed out the loopholes to Suyi one by one, so that Suyi would not implement these regulations at that time. There is no way. They also have to explain to the people, and they still have to do something. Of course, Suyi has no objection to this, but he has a bigger opinion on another matter. Originally, he agreed to give 5 bottles of water of life that can prolong life, and then privately give 1 bottle to Clay and Gago, who were doing the work, and the matter was over. But this time the contract became 80 bottles. According to these two, this is the price negotiated by the high-level parliamentary leaders of the Aosao Alliance. To put it bluntly, it is a lion's mouth, and they don't expect Suyi to agree. Because they had received the most direct benefit from Suyi. The two brothers, as the people who came to discuss this matter from Aosao, did not hesitate to reveal the background of the masters in the parliament, and also explained to Suyi very considerately why the bottom line was 8 waters of life. So, there are 15 families that are the most powerful and can lead this matter. At least 8 waters of life are needed, and the support of more than 8 families is required for this matter to pass. So, Yi thought that according to the nature of the West, such a big thing is definitely not something that can be decided by a few people. The news brought by these two pointed him to a new waypoint. If only a few people can decide the direction of things, then why should he give the water of life? Just let Yulin cast the whole magic to make these people agree directly. After all, this kind of water of life that can prolong life is a real good thing. Take out 1 and dilute it. It is enough to make tens of thousands of basic water of life. That's all money. However, after a detailed understanding, Suyi still gave up the idea of letting Yulin cast a spell on these people. It's very simple. Those who can make the final decision on such matters are all leaders and heads of various interest groups. They make their own decisions, and of course they will wipe their own ass afterwards to ensure that the matter will be implemented smoothly. There are too many things involved. Point. If the temptation to increase their lifespan wasn't too great, they probably wouldn't agree to this. Just using magic to control these people. To sign a contract would be fine in ordinary business, but it would definitely not work in such a major matter involving territory. Point. Without the efforts of these upper level interest groups in the Alzhar lands, this behavior that is close to ceding territory will definitely be rejected, and there will be too many troubles in the future. Point. He couldn't let Yuling stay there and manipulate these people to deal with it, or kill anyone who disobeyed. Point. This is not realistic. Point. It is better to use their local vested interests to suppress those who oppose it. The benefits to people are definitely indispensable. It is impossible to increase the water of life, just the 5 mentioned before. As for at least 8 people to agree, how to get the other 3 votes is not my problem. So, Yi said lightly. After they took the water of life, they didn't think they just needed to vote, and that was it, right? These are my exact words. You go back and tell the gentleman in the parliament over there. That's it. Clay and Gaga looked at each other, but they did not continue to argue. Point. To put it bluntly, their greatest interest in this matter is the water of life given to them by Suyi. They are now on the same side as Suyi, and they are not on the side of the big shots in the Alzhar Alliance Council. Point. The big boss has spoken, and they have taken the water of life. Naturally, they will have to think of a solution when they return. Point. Instead of complaining to Suyi here about how difficult this matter is. Chapter 87. Clay and Gago responded quickly. Point. Didn't even return to Alzhar. Point. The next morning, they found Suyi again. Point. Tell him that the Lords of Parliament have approved the deal. Point. As for how they divide the 5 waters of life within themselves, that is not something Suyi should be concerned about. Point. All he has to do is ensure that he gets the land. Point. A piece of land that does not belong to any country or region, does not have any sovereignty and justice, and belongs only to him alone. Point. Of course, under normal circumstances, if you don't have enough strength, there will be constant disputes. After getting this land. Point. Suyi knew very well what these white-skinned guys were like. Point. What kind of contract spirit? Bullshit. Point. If he does not have the strength, I'm afraid that when the water of life promised to the other party is handed over, the issue of sovereignty of this land will be put on the table, followed by various disputes. And maybe there will be another local war. This is probably the most important reason why the people from the Alzhar lands passed the transaction plan so quickly. Point. They just wanted to deceive the water of life and had no intention of giving the island to Suyi. Of course, they agreed to whatever conditions Suyi put forward. Point. But despite this, after signing the contract, he promised the other party to deliver the 5 bottles of water of life within a week. Point. The Alzhar lands also promised to start relocating the indigenous people on the island from the date the contract is signed. Point. The population above is not large, only a few thousand people in total. Point. Migration is very simple. You can transfer a few ships from nearby, and it can be done in one day. Point. According to the agreement, after the people move away, the people from the Shianayu group will take over the island. Point. Within a week, Shianayu group was probably rearranging the island and building infrastructure. Point. By the time the water of life was delivered, the matter was already a done deal for Suyi. Point. As for whether they would have any unexpected tricks after delivering the water of life, Suyi didn't care at all. Point. He obtained the power armor and low Earth orbit landing craft from another world. Point. Being able to carry out an airborne beheading in low Earth orbit in a matter of minutes is much more shocking than Yuling's extremely lethal but unknown blood magic. Point. He is hiding it for the time being and does not want to expose it, but if the other party wants to die, he will not shock the world with a little black technology. Sir, the press conference about Link C001 Jingyuan has been prepared and will officially start in 3 hours. Do you want to ask CEO Ms. Yuling to host the press conference this time? Cheyenne choose. Reminder rang on Suyi's cell phone. Point. News of carbon-based wafers has been leaked for a few days, and the entire production line from Bailu has basically been put into production. Point. The production line of this thing is fully automatic, with Cheyenne controlling it. No one is required to participate in the technical aspects. Naturally, problems such as the lack of corresponding technicians to control the machine can be omitted. The speed of putting into production is very fast. There was enough waste heat before, and the entries on the internet about SYNOPSIS Group's carbon-based wafers are still among the top searches on major websites. It's almost time to take things out. It also happens to give some strength to those in the West who ignore it. Do you really think I'm bragging? What do you mean? Are you willing to go? The person involved was right next to him, so Suyui naturally didn't make any decisions. There's nothing else to do anyway, so just go. Yuling was relatively indifferent to this. The education she received from an early age allowed her to face any big scene without stage fright. And compared to the previous press conference of the Water of Life, which required her to talk about this and that, this time Xianxu has prepared all the speeches for her, and when she encounters some problems, she will tell her how to answer them in real time through the headset. There's nothing you can't go to. Okay, then you go. Yi nodded and was about to tell Xianxu to arrange the corresponding clothing and makeup artist team, but before he could speak, Xianxu took the initiative and said, "Sir, I think with Ms. Yuling's appearance, we can make some different choices in terms of makeup and clothing design. We don't necessarily have to wear what outsiders call formal clothes, but we can make Ms. Yuling wear something more distinctive. This can also better demonstrate the internal culture and spiritual outlook of our SYNOPSIS group to the outside world and establish a good company image. Of course, this is just a suggestion from me and will not have much impact on the company's product sales. In business, many times the company image is tied to the brand image. Although you have a steady stream of black people, technology doesn't seem to need to pay attention to these details, but as a commercial AI, I need to consider this aspect. Whether to adopt it or not is up to you. If you are willing, I have prepared several unique sets of clothing for Miss Yuling to order in advance." This surprised both Suyui and Yuling. After the two looked at each other, Yuling said, "What kind of thing? Let's take it out and take a look first." The next moment, Xianxu's body, which she hung as a jewelry on her wrist, released a holographic projection point in front of the two of them. He contacted some tailor shops in Kyushu that had been passed down for many years and displayed several sets of clothes specially customized for Yuling. Suyui took a look. Good guys, they are all in ancient costumes, and it's not the kind of ancient costume that is made of rough materials and shoddily made at first glance. They are all the best of the best, and the silk threads on them are extremely high-end silk threads that can be seen with the naked eye. How much did you spend on ordering these things? Suyui couldn't help but asked curiously. If the unit price of this piece was placed on the market, it would be around 800,000 yuan, but I didn't spend any money. Xianxu explained. Last time I asked Ms. Yuling if she would mind using her image for commercial use within a certain range, and Ms. Yuling gave an affirmative answer. I contacted several time-honored tailor shops claiming to have served the royal family on the grounds that Ms. Yuling is the spokesperson. They all readily accepted that these clothes were specially designed and made for Ms. Yuling at no charge. Of course, in the agreement I reached with them, Ms. Yuling does not need to personally endorse them for this. She only needs to authorize them to use your image within a certain range and within a limited scope. To put it bluntly, the most she can do is use Yuling's photo, and she doesn't even need to have contact with them. Why not just buy it with money? Suyui asked curiously. SYNOPSIS Group is not short of money either, considering the characteristics of SYNOPSIS Group. Certain linkages with these ancient brands will enhance the brand image, and if you just buy them with money, you may not be able to buy these clothes in a short time. Xianxu gave its answer. Suyui glanced at Yuling. There was no big surprise in her eyes. It was obvious that Xianxu's previous question about her asking for image authorization was true. Chapter 88. Is my image so valuable? Ling said curiously. Of course, Ms. Yuling, I have carefully studied all aspects of humanities and social sciences in this world. Your appearance and temperament perfectly match the aesthetics of humans in this world. Even if you only appeared once at the EAUD Life Launch Conference, you already have a large number of fans and loyal fans on the internet. I'm afraid you don't even know how popular you are. It can even be said that at least 1/3 of SYNOPSIS Group's current attention is because of you. That's right. Can my wife not be beautiful? Suyi also agreed. This made Yuling a little embarrassed, so she patted him lightly and said, I suspect you are working with it to make me happy. Madam, please believe in my integrity as an intelligent AI. I will not lie. Xianshu said seriously. That's right. You are more beautiful than it says. Let me tell you, a few clothes can make you an ambassador. Those tailor shops are making a lot of money. Suyi agreed with it. After all, even if Yuling was placed in a different world nourished by magic power and filled with countless handsome men and beauties, her appearance would still be top notch. Not to mention the temperament blessing brought by the identity of the elf princess, completely invincible. Yuling was visibly happy after hearing this, although she also knows how beautiful she is. It depends on who says it. She wouldn't care how much outsiders praised her appearance, but it was completely different if Suyi praised her. Where are the clothes? I'll change them. It has been sent to the door. Xianshu replied immediately. And as soon as it finished speaking, the doorbell was rang. It was obviously well prepared. This is the power of AI. If a person takes one step and sees 3 steps, he is already very powerful. But Xianshu can take one step and see countless steps, arrange everything, and never waste a minute or a second. While arranging trivial matters such as what to wear for the Yuling press conference. It can also simultaneously handle reception and construction issues on islands thousands of miles away. And no matter how big or small the matter is, we have prepared 2 or even several sets of plans to deal with any unexpected situations that may arise. When Yuling changed her clothes and came out, even though Suyi was used to her beauty, she couldn't help but her eyes lit up. People rely on their clothes. This saying is valid for anyone. Even Yuling is no exception. The first set of clothes she changed into was an extremely complicated and ancient palace costume that was extremely complicated to make. The clothes are overall bright red with complex gold lines on them. The people who sent the clothes were the teams from the tailor shops. Their people also specially gave Yuling a retro hairstyle and paired it with a bunch of expensive looking jewelry. The main theme is a rich man. If you wear this kind of clothing on others, it will only look vulgar, and it may even give people the feeling of wearing a crown while wearing a monkey. But wearing this thing on Yuling doesn't give people the slightest sense of disobedience. It will only make the noble aura in her body even more noble. It's like she was born to wear this. Pretty, so Yi couldn't help but give a thumbs up. The female makeup artist who came over to help Yuling style her hair and teach her how to wear such clothes couldn't help but said, I didn't agree with the store manager's previous proposal to make such rich and luxurious costumes. After all, there are no queens in modern society. How can anyone wear such rich and attractive clothes? I didn't expect Miss Yu to wear them. It's so beautiful that it fits so well. We still have a few more outfits that are more casual. Do you need to change them and try them on? Ling didn't answer, but looked at Suyi. Seeing this, Suyi directly made the decision. No need to try. Just do this. The other few sets will be left here. You can make a few more sets when you go back. It doesn't matter if you have money or not. Before, he was curious about what kind of clothes could sell for hundreds of thousands, but now it seems that the price is really no problem. This is art, and it should be sold at this price. The key is that few women can hold on to this kind of clothing. The market is very small, and people have to sell it more expensively in order to survive. Since he is not short of money, they are really capable, and Yuling seems to like the clothes. Then Suyi doesn't mind letting them make some money. Then, I'll thank you on behalf of the shop owner. The makeup artist who knew the other person's identity thanked him repeatedly. While Suyi was still trying on clothes with Yuling, Xianyu Group made another sudden attack and announced that a carbon-based wafer press conference would be held in the afternoon. Online public opinion, which was already highly controversial about Xianyu Group, exploded again. And the news released by Xianshu this time is not only about the time of the press conference, but also the list of participants. Everyone in Kyushu is familiar with the above, or even if they have never heard of it, they will know from the job description that they are not simple bosses, and they immediately sent an earthquake to the entire network. It quickly attracted the attention of countless people. No, brother, are you really coming? I thought he was just bragging, or just trying to make money with the concept of carbon-based wafers. You told me to release it now. Haha, it's useless to think about it. Carbon-based wafer technology is not mature at all. There are no carbon-based wafers successfully commercialized abroad. This is definitely nonsense. The so-called press conference is probably just a concept to defraud money. It doesn't matter at all. Don't even think about it. If you don't see the finished product on display point, if they don't have anything, how dare they hold a press conference? Too typical. What your foreign father can't do, can't Shia Group do. They have the water of life. Do foreign countries have it? That's right. When the water of life was launched, there were also a bunch of people who said that Shia Group was a liar. But what happened? The water of life is not much more outrageous than this crystal. They can even take out that thing. Not to mention these crystals that are theoretically feasible. Anyway, I believe in Shia Group, and my life was saved by Shia Group. It's so funny. It's as if you didn't pay for your water of life. You have to be grateful to others for buying things. What a Cyberphilial son. 8888 cured my disease that I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on but couldn't cure. Isn't it enough to thank them? So they should give it to you for free. Haha, why don't you think about how many people don't have these 8 or 9,000 yuan? These people's diseases don't need to be cured. No, the fucking disease is not caused by Shia Group. What does it have to do with whether you cure it or not? They gave you a treatment plan that is much cheaper than before. Why shouldn't you be thanked? There are so many ungrateful people in this world. I have a lot of minor illnesses, and I don't know how much I have spent on various medicines and minor surgeries, but they are all useless. Now I'm afraid that I can't get the water of life. If I can get one, let alone the crystal, I will believe it. Even if Shia Group says that the earth is square, don't lick it. It depends on your ability, whether you can get a quota. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Oh, Mr. Yu, are you here too? 1nm. Carbon-based wafers have been released, so why not come? Mr. Liu, are you also here to attend Shia Group's Jingyuan press conference? Yes. How can our company be absent from such a grand event? Mr. Ma, your company's software developers also came to see the hardware launch conference. Of course, software is always based on hardware. It is quite necessary to witness the birth of a new generation of technology in advance. The grand venue was already overcrowded at this time. The VIP seats in the front row are almost all big shots from well-known companies in Kyushu. Anyone who picks one and puts it in front of the camera can be recognized. After seeing the lineup of VIP seats, many netizens who watched the live broadcast even made a special table. It is difficult to estimate the connection between the big names in the table and the companies they represent. It can be said that half of the entire Jiaozhou internet and semiconductor industry has gathered in Jiangcheng at this time. And they didn't just send a representative or manager to do it perfunctorily. They all came in person from the leaders of their respective companies, of course. As for the purpose of coming here, it is hard to say whether it is for the 1nm carbon-based wafer, the protagonist of Shia Group's product launch, or for the water of life. Perhaps they came simply for the crystal element, or perhaps they came simply for the water of life. Or it could be both. Suyui even felt that some of the people here might have taken over missions from some western countries and came here to test. But that doesn't matter at all. The important thing is that they came and made this press conference loud enough. It attracted enough attention. In this way, It will be more satisfying when he slaps him in the face later. Otherwise, no matter how good the product he has is, even if it is released, it will become completely popular very quickly and seize the original market point. But when there is a lack of attention, the feedback he gets immediately will be much less, and he also loses a lot of the fun of slapping others in the face and watching others break their defenses, according to Xianshu's arrangement. The process before the press conference was actually quite brief. No specific technical issues were introduced. It was mostly about welcoming this and that point. Then he briefly boasted about how awesome the 1nm carbon-based wafer launched by Xiaonayu Group was, and then it was Yuling's turn to take the stage. Point as Suyi expected, Yuling, who appeared in an extremely gorgeous costume, gave everyone in the audience a huge shock. Point the people at the scene were either the bosses of large groups or companies, and they were basically all big shots. Although they were inevitably stunning, they were still relatively reserved due to their status. But netizens watching the live broadcast on the internet will not think so much. Point the first time I saw Yuling, the official live broadcast room of this live broadcast cleared the screen in an instant, and the screen was filled with barrages that could no longer be seen. Holy shit, oh shit, oh shit, it's her, she's really here. Oh my god, this is much more beautiful than last time. It's too exaggerated. Isn't this really heavy beauty plus makeup plus filters? I really don't believe that anyone in the world can be so good looking. It can be said that the whole length is down to my aesthetics. I'm a makeup artist. To be honest, let alone beauty filters, people barely even put on makeup. I can tell at a glance. At most, they only used a little lipstick. You've seen it all. This is my wife. Someone come and pee on him so that he can wake up. Don't come with diabetes. Don't let him taste the sweetness. If you want to eat your shit, you are right. You are the CEO of Xiaonayu Group. What a beast you are. Didn't you see human hair a few days ago? This beauty has a boyfriend, a very handsome guy. Haha, you are a soft-fed dog. How do you know that someone is a low-income person? He is so handsome and looks like he is only about 20 years old. Yuling is the president of Xiaonayu Group. He is fair and plump. Isn't this just a soft meal? That seems to be true. Who wouldn't want to eat this soft rice? Damn that thief. I have no sworn relationship with him. Whoever gets his 8 out, I'm going to blow him up. Atsuyi, this is the dog thief. Go ahead. Damn it. Isn't this the big boss of Xiaonayu Group rumored on the internet? Ah. The boss of Xiaonayu Group is so young and handsome. Suyi didn't expect that no one cared about what he looked like, let alone noticed. Point unexpectedly, because Yuling's appearance is so incredible. She already appeared at the last EAUD Life press conference and shocked the world, causing her to gain a lot of attention. Point then someone took a photo of the two of them when they went out. Coupled with the secret efforts of the C language boss, his appearance was also exposed to the public. Point it's like opening the box directly for him. Point almost everyone who pays attention to Xiaonayu Group now knows that, although this company is so big, the boss and president are a pair of extremely handsome boys and beautiful girls. This time the attention is even higher. Xianshu, you should be able to easily erase the traces of this kind of thing on the internet, right? Suyi said helplessly. Point it is impossible that Xianshu could not have noticed the risk of him being dug out by the public before, but he did nothing. Why? Should we erase all traces and hide our identity? Xianshu seemed a little confused. The personality of the company's top management is sometimes an important factor in whether the company can develop healthily, especially in your era, where traffic is king and idols are rampant. If you can create a better personality for yourself, the future development of Xiaonayu Group will be smoother. Blue Star Jiao's Rice Group is a good example. The company's CEO itself has great appeal. Even if the product is sometimes unsatisfactory, it can still occupy a place in the market. Although your company is different from other companies and completely occupies a leading position in the market, it seems that there is no urgent need for these non-product operating methods. But this is only temporary. Who can say what will happen in the future? Xianshu explained patiently. Suyi couldn't help but twitch his mouth. He just wanted to make money. Easy money. After making money, he still hoped to live a happy life. Now he is almost becoming an internet celebrity. How can he live a happy life if he has to be watched by people? When he goes out, it will be a waste of time. No, as the person involved, I reject this plan. As for the current situation, let's keep it to ourselves. Don't suppress the news for the time being, and don't make any response. Netizens only have a 7-second memory. After all, the marketing has not officially started. After a few days, the limelight will pass. It's better for us to focus more on the production of carbon-based wafers. Okay, sir, I'm sorry to add fuel to the fire in this matter without your consent. I will eliminate the inconvenience caused to your daily life as soon as possible. Although Suyi's request does not conform to Xianshu's internal business logic. The big boss has spoken. Why should he, an AI, worry about it? Chapter 90. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and watch the launch of our Xianyu Group Link C001 crystal. According to the speech prepared by Xianshu, Yuling briefly introduced the technical principles of carbon-based crystals and why the process can reach the 1nm level. These technical issues are very complicated, but fortunately Xianshu is a genius, and his terrifying computing power allows him to learn any language extremely quickly. Even in terms of understanding text and language, it is now more proficient than Yuling, who uses a world language passcard. With Xianshu's powerful writing skills, this speech can be said to be written vividly, with rich voice and emotion, and easy to understand. Even people who didn't know anything about semiconductors before will probably have a general impression of this Link CO crystal after listening to it, and know how awesome it is compared to the current crystals. These things are said to be technical, but in fact, even if all the principles are told to others, there is a lack of corresponding equipment in the world, and others cannot manufacture them. For example, Jiazhao, which was previously stuck in this aspect. Don't they know the principle of the crystal? Of course they know. But the problem is that this kind of thing involves precision processing. What's the use of knowing the principle if you can't make it? Not to mention that the technical aspects of Xianshu's manuscript are not complete. It's useless to anyone who hears it, and there is no need to worry at all. At the end of the introduction, in order to prove that what she introduced is true, rather than a bragging product on the PPT. Yuling even took out a finished carbon-based crystal. The crystal is too tiring. Her piece is a graphics card crystal made by Xianyu Group. This is also the thing that can most intuitively display the performance of the crystal. However, it is definitely not enough to have a crystal alone. Graphics cards need various driver support. The good news is that Xianyu Group has Xianshu, and even programmers who write code are saved. Xianshu can rub out a bunch of drivers that can be adapted to this temporary graphics card in minutes. Let this thing use it almost the same as the graphics card of Invista on the market today. Of course, this almost refers to the adaptation aspect. In terms of performance, the graphics cards available on the market are not even worthy of this thing. Have you seen a graphics card with 16 TB video memory? This thing was temporarily made by Xianyu Group for the press conference. In order to better show the performance of the graphics card, Xianshu also made a virtual engine. The effect is hundreds of streets ahead of the latest Unreal 5 engine on the market. Then, the people who came to the scene and the audience on the internet watched Xianyu Group use that pile of messy rags to interpret the extremely popular single-player game Black Goku. Compared with the original game, it can still be seen as a game. With this graphics card, plus Xianshu's contribution of its own computing power, the picture in the game is almost indistinguishable from reality. This is still the result of temporary patchwork. If there is really a game company that uses the capabilities of this graphics card and the CPU computing power of Xianyu Group in the future, and then uses the virtual engine developed by Xianshu to develop a game, the effect will definitely be countless times better than this. Of course, this level of carbon-based wafer technology is not only applicable to graphics cards, it's just that the performance of graphics cards is the easiest to show intuitively point. After watching the simple demonstration, even those who don't know anything about it can clearly feel how outrageous the performance of Shia Group's temporary piece of stuff is, and those who know about it kept saying it was awesome. After seeing it point the ultra high image quality that is almost indistinguishable from reality, who wouldn't be confused after seeing it? If you don't understand, just ask, if this thing is really mass produced and not put on the market, will it have an impact on the current gaming industry? It seems that you really don't understand. They are just demonstrating it. The graphics card is just the tip of the iceberg of this carbon-based wafer technology. It is no exaggeration to say that if Shia Group does not have any fraudulent behavior at this press conference today, then I think the technology they hold is even enough to change the world pattern. Semiconductors. What a huge market. If it is directly overturned by RGOs how enterprises, we probably can also drink some soup. What soup are you drinking? Can Shia Group give you some money? Do you really think of yourself as a capitalist's dog? It is entirely possible that the economy that has been sluggish in the past 2 years has suddenly occupied such a large market and has achieved a huge growth. Do you dare to say that economic development has no benefits for ordinary people? The guy above is really a bit against the sky. To be honest, I don't believe that he is real. Unless it is shot in reality. Who can shoot this level of picture quality? Is it possible? If this is a real shot, it will be more thrilling. That's right. The monsters in it are the same as the real ones, and there is no sense of disobedience. There are no flaws in the skills. If it is a real shot, you can't let people wear leather suits and hide in it, right? That's too fake. It's confirmed. In order to sell fake crystals, Shia Group specially found a few monsters to accompany them to shoot promotional videos. Hahaha, I laughed to death. The actual machine demonstration was so shocking that after Yuling finished the introduction, many viewers were still immersed in the scene they had just seen and couldn't come back to their senses for a long time. The first to react were those well-known domestic internet companies. After being stunned, Zyro Modjet, who came to the scene in person from Penguin Group, didn't care about the reserve of big entrepreneurs and successful people. As a businessman who started out as a software professional, he knew too well how much impact this kind of hardware innovation could bring to software. And he was knowledgeable. Just now, he took a quick look and found that Shia Group was awesome not only in hardware. From graphics card adaptation to virtual engine. All the technologies used were incomprehensible to him. The effects were surprisingly good. If this could be used to make games, wouldn't it make a lot of money? He immediately stood up and said, "Miss You, how much does your company's graphics card cost? Can you tell me? What technology is this virtual engine based on? Why is the effects so good? I wonder if it is convenient to tell me." Ling glanced at him after hearing this. Well, this is a big shot, and he had heard Suyi talk about this person before. But they were not good words. But no matter who it was, she had only one answer when she came to talk to him at this time. "Hello, Mr. Ma, I can't reveal this. If your company has the intention to cooperate, you can let the professional team connect with Shia technology under our Shia Group afterwards." Chapter 91. Zyro Modjet realized that he was a bit abrupt at this time. However, he looked back at other colleagues who looked unfriendly, and he didn't care too much. He chuckled and apologized to Yuling, and then sat back in his seat. He could ignore the hostility of others, but at present, none of the technologies of Shia Group were useless to his Penguin. Naturally, it was not good to neglect it. Next, Yuling spent nearly half an hour following the process arranged by Shu and demonstrated the skills of carbon-based crystal from various angles that might be suspected. The more you look at it, the more frightening it is, especially those foreign media. Those people from foreign semiconductor companies were basically invited by Shia Group. Suyi originally planned to call them to the scene to slap them in the face. Unexpectedly, they didn't think he was serious at all, and they didn't even come. But if the professionals don't come, the news media who like to join in the fun will certainly not be absent. With the huge momentum created by Shia Group on the internet, many well-known foreign media naturally came to see what was going on. When they came in, most of these people were still full of confidence, thinking that even if the so-called carbon-based wafers of Sci-Fi Group were real, they would definitely have a lot of water, and it would not be more reliable and more advanced than their current silicon-based wafers, until they watched the performance demonstrations of one project after another led by Yuling Point. The more they watched, the more frightened they were. Point after watching, their hearts were almost half cold. Point semiconductor technology. Point today, when the automotive industry is gradually being eroded by Jiazhou, this is already one of the few high value added industries with a large scale in the entire Western world. Point anyone with a little common sense knows how terrible the consequences will be if the semiconductor industry is overturned by Jiazhou. Point, although Jiazhou has been catching up before today, the gap between the two sides in technology accumulation is very large. Point, no matter how awesome Jiazhou is, it is simply unrealistic to catch up in a short time. Point, because many things are inherently slow and cannot be rushed. Point, even if the monopoly is broken one by one, it will take a long time. Point, the West can still have a good time. Point, and today's incident is undoubtedly a heavy blow to the head of the entire West, making those Westerners who had learned about the semiconductor industry before coming here dizzy. Point, the most terrifying thing is that there was no warning at all. Point, it was very abrupt, and they didn't even have time to prepare for it. Point, those semiconductor giants didn't even bother to take a look. Point, not to mention preparing any response plans after confirming that this carbon-based wafer might be true. The reporters present, including those corporate bosses, almost guessed what kind of bloody storm the entire semiconductor industry would usher in after the news spread. Some people were excited, some had mixed feelings, and some were like bereaved parents in a small press conference. All kinds of life was shown. Point, and under the expectation of everyone, it was finally time to get down to business. The interview session. Point, without waiting for reporters or VIPs to ask questions, Yuling took the lead and said, "Before the interview begins, I have something to say to everyone. That is why we are so eager to bring out our carbon-based wafers. There are two reasons. One is that our company's technology in this area is already quite mature. We even have a complete team responsible for the supporting software development technology. There is no problem in listing it for sale at this time. The other reason is more interesting." At this point, Yuling smiled. "Our boss is a very petty person. His principle has always been that I will not offend others if others do not offend me, and a few days ago, the Bald Eagle country included Sci-Fi Group in the sanctions list for no reason. Excuse me, this thing has no effect on our Sci-Fi Group except for letting them have fun. The current production capacity of our company's water of life may not be enough to supply the domestic market, let alone the foreign market. But even if there is no impact, such barbaric and impolite behavior makes our boss very unhappy. In his words, if you don't let me live well, then no one will live well. That's why he released the news of carbon-based crystals in advance and moved up the original crystal release date by a few days. Anyway, this is harmless to our company, but for some financially powerful countries, such a black swan in the semiconductor industry may not be easy. Yes, our Sci-Fi Group is targeting the Bald Eagle and the Western Group headed by the Bald Eagle. So, here I need to emphasize what our boss told me to say. From now on, Sci-Fi Group will impose sanctions on the Bald Eagle Empire, and any products of Sci-Fi Group will not flow into the markets of the Bald Eagle and its allied countries." It sounds a bit ridiculous for a small company to challenge the world's strongest empire, but please believe that someone will regret it, and this person will definitely not be Sci-Fi Group, let alone our boss. Speaking of this, Yuling smiled and said, "Now, let's start the interview session. You can ask any questions you have." Silence. Point, not only was the scene quiet. Point, even on the live broadcast room, there were only a few comments at this time. Point, it was nothing. It was just that Yuling's words just now shocked everyone a little too much. Point, in recent years, as the trade war has become more and more intense, there are countless Jiazhou companies that have been targeted and sanctioned by the Bald Eagle. Point, but most of the time, these companies can only cry out for injustice and occupy the moral high ground. To criticize others, it's not painful at all for others. Everyone knows that Sci-Fi Group has been sanctioned. Everyone thought that Shianayu Group would definitely end up swallowing its anger in the end point unexpectedly, after Shianayu Group remained silent for a few days and did not express any opinions on being sanctioned. It actually gave everyone a hard-ish point at the press conference. It directly criticized the officials of the world's most powerful country point, and it named and said that it would fight the other party to the end point. It's not empty at all point, don't worry about whether this is true or false, but it's really inspiring to hear it. You have been bullied to the point of being pitiful and weak. What's the point of occupying the moral high ground? You should hit back hard, and you should scold them, even if you can't beat them. Chapter 92. Due to Yuling's explosive speech, the reporters who had prepared a bunch of sharp questions to embarrass Shianayu Group didn't dare to ask any more questions. When it came to the question and answer session point, just kidding. They can fight back against the world's strongest country, but these little karami are nothing. Point what if they are unhappy and get slapped back? As for those who were going to lick Shianayu Group during the interview and build a good relationship between the two parties for better cooperation in the future point, now they dare not ask any more questions. After all, Shianayu Group has offended a group of bald eagles. You are happy now, but what are you going to do about their counterattack later? Even if you are not afraid of the sanctions from the bald eagles, I'm afraid. So Yuling, who originally thought that she would face all kinds of sharp questions, did not encounter any difficulties in the question and answer session this time. The reporters present asked some basic questions, for example, how much is the output, and what kind of wafer is the approximate price point. There was no off-topic talk. In short, the interaction was completed very easily, and the press conference ended. Point even the explosive news that she announced that Shianayu Group's carbon-based wafers are not only cheaper than the current silicon-based wafers, but also have more than 10 times the performance of the same level wafers, did not attract as much attention as her remarks against the bald eagle point after the press conference. The words related to the president of Shianayu Group openly declaring countermeasures against the bald eagle in public quickly topped the hot search list of major software counter sanctions. She is really bold to say that people don't want to buy your things in the first place. Now you say that you won't sell them to them in anti-sanctions. Isn't it a joke? Haha, a mantis trying to stop a chariot is overestimating one's own strength. Another group of people are about to come and win a spiritual victory. Note that the bald eagle sanctioned not Shianayu Group, but Shianayu Medical, specifically the drug of Shianayu Medical's water of life. Now Shianayu Group has implemented counter-sanctions and refused to export any products to the Western camp headed by the bald eagle, including carbon-based wafers. What do you mean by things that people don't want to buy in the first place? The performance of carbon-based crystal is more than 10 times that of the current crystal of the same level. You say the bald eagle doesn't want it. It's hard to say whether it's true or not. 10 times. I'm bragging, and I dare to say that the performance of the crystal I made with my bare hands is 10,000 times that of the crystal currently on the market. That's right. And the water of life, I think it deserves to be sanctioned. You don't follow their rules. Why don't they sanction you? What rules didn't you follow? Let me hear it. I read the reasons for the sanctions imposed by the Ministry of Commerce on the bald eagle. They just asked to study whether this thing is harmful and asked Shianayu Group to explain the principle of the water of life, but Shianayu Group refused. Isn't it deserved to be sanctioned? Good guy, you mean I have to give it to you if you want it and explain the principle? Otherwise let Shianayu Group give the formula of the water of life to your bald eagle father. If you ask me, this water of life should be banned in Jiuzhou. Where in the world can such a good thing exist? Only idiots believe it. It is obvious that they are cutting leaks. I don't know how big the background of Shianayu Group is. Haha, if I hadn't seen that you had forwarded the dynamics of Shianayu Group's Water of Life lottery on your homepage, I would have almost believed it. Brother, it's not easy to get a salary if you see it, but don't say it. For a while, all kinds of remarks were clamorous. A hat was also put on the head of Shianayu Group. Point this pile of hats has good and bad ones in the eyes of people who love this land. In recent years, too many companies in Jiuzhou have been unreasonably attacked and sanctioned by the Western camp headed by the bald eagle when they went overseas. Previously, those companies could only swallow their anger for the sake of the market, and at most protested a few words, and Shia Group's wave of naming the bald eagle today is undoubtedly a strong counterattack, which greatly boosts morale point, because he is not just talking point. The anti-sanction was announced after the release of the black technology of carbon-based crystal element point, not to mention that Shia Group still holds the good stuff like water of life point. Anyone with a discerning eye knows that the bald eagle sanctions the water of life for greater benefits, not because it really doesn't want this miraculous medicine point. Now Shia Group has directly cut off the other party's thoughts. You want to sanction me? Then I won't sell it to you. And for those whose spiritual motherland is on the other side of the ocean point, Shia Group's remarks are equivalent to violating the law of heaven point. They dared to speak so arrogantly to their father, it's completely treasonous. Now of course, they are trying all kinds of ways to attack Shia Group point. Those who spread rumors, those who directly scold, those who make jokes, or those who pretend to be rational and make rational analyzes to praise openly and criticize secretly point. It can be said that they use every possible means. The most disgusting ones are those jokers. Seeing that the majority of people in Jia's house support Shia Group, they came out and started to praise Shia Group from all angles, exaggerating it to the extreme, and really attracted the approval of some people who don't have much opinion and common sense, but want to support Shia Group point. Then these people will change their accounts, or let their companions intercept these remarks and post them all over the world, using them to attack those who support Shia Group for being brainless. It's similar to a game that was recently launched point. Seeing that the quality of the game far exceeded expectations, it did not die suddenly point. A group of people immediately jumped out, trying to tout this game as the best in the world, proving from all angles how awesome it is, how it beats other games of the same type, and how it is invincible point. People who have never played other games of the same type rushed into the game, only feeling that this game is really fun, and after hearing what senior players said, they immediately felt that this is simply a wonder in the history of human games, and then followed suit to praise it point. When similar remarks became more common, those who originally praised it changed their accounts at the speed of light, intercepted the remarks of those who were not familiar with the game and were led by them, and cursed them as this is a brainless monkey point. This is a current situation of the internet point. Many times, those who praise you with your brainless heart may not be your allies behind the chaos on the internet. The official response of the bald eagle, which was criticized by Shia Group, was not slow, and it quickly gave a relevant response. In view of the arrogance and rudeness of Shia Group, after urgent consultations, the Black Palace and the Parliament decided to continue to increase the original sanctions, refusing all Shia Group products to enter the bald eagle, and freezing all Shia Group's overseas assets. The sanctions will continue until Shia Group publicly apologizes for its previous remarks and discloses the manufacturing principles of the drug water of life and the manufacturing principles of carbon-based crystals. Chapter 93. This old woman is a bit too disgusting. So, Yi happened to see the live broadcast of the Black Palace spokesperson speaking, and couldn't help but complain point. These words certainly had no effect on Shia Group. He just couldn't stand someone being so arrogant to him. Then, let her die. You. Ling tilted his head. It's so far. Is it okay? I can't ask you to go there in person. It's unnecessary. Su Yi shook his head. It's okay for an ordinary person. Yuling pondered. As long as you agree, she will die in front of the camera immediately. Really? Su Yi's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly said, wait a minute. As he said that, he took out his mobile phone, found a picture of opening champagne at random, and then posted it on his personal account, with 2 words, good death. Okay, now you can let her die. It's obviously not that easy to kill a person from a distance of tens of thousands of kilometers, unlike the previous life that had use of blood magic. This time Yuling directly took out the staff, recited a lengthy spell, and then finished casting and sat back. Is it done? Will it be tiring? Su Yi asked with concern. Fortunately, it's just killing an ordinary person. It's just that there is no information medium about her, which is more troublesome, but it's not tiring. Yuling chuckled point. Obviously, this is nothing to her. Well, I'm going on vacation tomorrow. Don't get tired now. Suyi said, and looked at the TV again. He didn't know how long Yuling's magic would take to take effect, but this kind of broadcast must have a delay point, but no matter how big the delay is, it will only be less than 1 second at most. After the two finished talking, almost at the moment Suyi turned his head to look at the TV. The spokesperson of the Black Palace, who was arrogant in front of countless reporters a second ago, twitched all over the next second and fell down with blood flowing from 7 holes. The surrounding reporters were stunned for a moment and then became more excited. Are you kidding? Reporters at the scene of the assassination of the bald eagle president were not afraid of bullets that could be fired at any time. What else can you be afraid of? The spokesperson of the Black Palace suddenly fell at the press conference. This is big news. You must get close to take a clear close-up photo at this time. Surrounded by a large number of reporters, the staff and medical team of the Black Palace took more than 10 minutes to drag the poor spokesperson out for emergency treatment. At the same time, they reacted and shut down all the interview and live broadcast equipment at the scene. But the news had spread like a storm. The news that the spokesperson of the Black Palace suddenly fell when announcing sanctions and condemning the Shianayu group became the focus of the world in an instant. Even the Shianayu group became popular on the internet around the world. Some reporters who were close to the scene even publicly stated that the spokesperson must have suffered from some acute disease, and the condition after the onset was very serious. He was definitely dead. Even before these reporters were kicked out, a reporter with some medical knowledge took a look and said that the spokesperson had a drop in body temperature and stiff limbs, and even his pupils began to dilate. Not dead, but already dead. This kind of heavyweight news spread to the Jiaohao network almost in an instant. Then someone with a keen eye immediately discovered the dynamic that Sui posted. Mr. Su is really a man of temperament. So funny. It's okay to just open the champagne. Wouldn't that be too rude? After all, the dead are the most important. It's okay. Doesn't the dead have any opinions? Why are we in a hurry? Good death. Open the champagne. Wait, didn't you find something terrifying when you think about it carefully? What? Look at the time. The time when Mr. Su posted this dynamic does not seem to match the time when the Black Palace spokesperson died during the live broadcast. Brother, there is a time difference in this world. People are on the other side of the ocean, so of course the time is not right. Are you stupid? I just calculated the time wrong. The time when Mr. Su posted the dynamic was more than a minute earlier than the time when that person died. As soon as this was said, it immediately attracted the attention of many people. The time difference between Kaishu and Bald Eagle is no secret. When the spokesperson of Hegang died, it was live broadcast, and there was no suspense about the time of death. Combined with the time when Suyi posted the dynamic, a simple calculation. Many people were surprised to find that Suyi posted this dynamic 1 minute earlier than the time when the spokesperson of Hegang died. Damn, this is not right. Coincidence. It should be a coincidence. What a coincidence. How can there be such a coincidence in the world? If it is not a coincidence, how can it be explained? Could it be that someone, or Mr. Su killed him? Hard to say. It can't be that he really killed him. How is it possible? This is not an assassination. He was live broadcasting at the time, and no gunshots were heard. Hegang said that he died of acute illness. It is definitely not a gunshot. As for whether it was poisoning or other means, it is not certain. As for Hegang's statement, just take a look. If you were in charge of Hegang, would you say that your people were killed in your own home? For a while, conspiracy theories were prevalent. Suyi did it on purpose, so he naturally wouldn't explain. Not only did he not intend to explain, he even posted a so-called clarification status. Let me clarify the reason why I posted that dynamic. I was playing a game just now and encountered a wild dog barking at me. Then I kicked the wild dog on the roadside to death. I posted a dynamic to celebrate, as for the so-called wild dog of the Black Palace. No, the spokesman's death was indeed a good death, as long as I have no morals, you can't morally blackmail me. As long as I have no quality, if you dare to disgust me, I will scold you back. Decent. Suyik doesn't care about these. When you have the ability to change the rules, you don't care who makes the rules. This is the case in the business world, and it is the same in so-called words and deeds. Don't say that he cursed a few words online to hint Even if he directly said that he killed the Spokesperson of the Black Palace, what would it matter? The president of the Bald Eagle directly used a nuclear bomb to blow him up. Don't joke. Point compared to the life and death of this person, it is more likely that he will attract nuclear bombs if he continues to touch the interests of the entire Bald Eagle empire. Point. But it doesn't matter. Last time, he had asked Bailu to help him find some surface interception systems that had been eliminated in their world. Once this batch of goods arrives, no matter what planes, missiles, or nuclear weapons, they will be useless if they can't hit him. Point as expected. His clarification not only failed to clarify, but also because his words and sentences were too ambiguous, many people thought that he did it. Point for a while. Even those who felt that this matter had absolutely nothing to do with Shia Group after careful and rational analysis became a little unconfident. Point not to mention them. Even Higang was a little unsure for a while after getting Suyi's response. Chapter 94. Boy, did you really do it? As expected, not long after the incident, Old Man Lin called. Does it matter who did it? Suyi asked back. Anyway, the dead are Bald Eagle people. Just open the champagne and it's over. This Old Man Lin hesitated for a moment, but couldn't help but say, boy, I won't hide it from you. In fact, since the Zheng family incident, someone above has been eyeing you. It's better to do less similar things. Many times, killing can only intensify the problem, not solve it. Although Old Man Lin felt that Suyi's killing across thousands of miles was outrageous, he was not too surprised. Point after all, when the Zheng family was wiped out before, the clan members across the ocean died suddenly for various reasons later. The Tao family in the Magic City was even more terrifying. Point. Although they were not dead yet, the family members had contracted different strange diseases one after another in the past month. Point on the contrary, Tao Weemin in prison was fine, but every time a member of the Tao family got into trouble, the people of Shia Group would go to inform the other party of the news. With so many factors combined, if the Jiazhou officials still can't guess that Suyi has a way to kill people invisibly and quietly, even if they are thousands of miles apart, then they are stupid. Point. But you don't have any evidence for this kind of thing. What can you do to Suyi if you guess it? Not to mention that Shia Group has become bigger now, and Suyi seems to be on the official side. Point. In any case, they have no reason to touch Suyi. Point. Those big wigs who know about it can only tell their children to keep their eyes open when they go out and never provoke this living father. It can't solve the problem, but it makes me happy. Suyi replied. Point. This is also considered not pretending, admitting that he killed the spokesperson of the Black Palace. Point. People have guessed it, so there is nothing to deny. Point. Anyway, the Jiazhou officials can't have evidence. Point. A few words are not evidence, you kid. Old Man Lin could only change the subject helplessly. Carbon-based wafers, are you really going to sell them directly on the market? Yes, the products sold include mobile phone wafers, computer CPUs, graphics cards, etc. As far as I know, things like graphics cards and CPUs all need to be adapted, right? Have you done the adaptation and put them on the market directly? You are so old, I didn't expect you to be quite knowledgeable. Suyi was a little surprised. Basically, they have been handled. As for those adaptation issues that took a lot of effort, you don't need to ask how they were done, and I won't tell you even if you ask anything else. I heard that you signed an agreement with the Aozhou Alliance, and they are going to lease an island on the Asan Ocean to you for 99 years. Old Man Lin mentioned another thing. Point. Suyi couldn't help but sigh that they were well informed when he heard this. Although the island was privately handed over, and someone from Shia Group had already gone to the island, it was not made public. Point. It is impossible for the people of Shia Group to leak the news. The signals on that island are now monitored by Shu, and everyone who goes on and off the island is under strict surveillance. Point. So the official news can only come from the Aozhou Alliance. Point. This means that there must be people from Jiazhou official in the senior management there. It's true. Suyi admitted it openly. It's exchanged for a few bottles of water of life. Why not? I plan to move some more dangerous experiments and projects to that island in the future. Aren't you afraid that they will go back on their words? Those Westerners don't care about face for the sake of profit. Old Man Lin advised. You can buy it and use it as a resort. putting key technology, there will definitely be big trouble in the future. The transaction between you and the councillors of the Aosao Alliance is not formal. There will be a lot of controversy about this island in the future. Even if those Western countries want to forcibly seize the island at that time, they will have reasons. If you really have any dangerous experiments and projects, you can tell me. There are many in China. You are allowed to build it in the human area. There is really no need to go so far. In Jiazhou, if you point your finger at the nose of the bald eagle and scold them, they can only scold you in impotence and rage. If you go out, you will have to face their fleet at that time. Don't worry, I know my limits. Su Yi certainly knew what Old Man Lin meant. After thinking about it, he added, this island will be of great use to me in the future, and since it has come into my hands, it is not up to them whether they return it in the future. The lease period is 99 years. I just feel uncomfortable. If they dare to tear up the agreement, I will just remove the word lease. After a conversation, Old Man Lin didn't know what to say, and finally had to hang up the phone helplessly. Although I don't know where Su Yi got the confidence to say such a thing. I don't know why, but he inexplicably felt that Su Yi might really be able to do it. As for where this feeling came from, it is hard to say. Perhaps it was the confidence that Shia Group had produced 2 epoch-making products less than a month after its establishment. Or was it due to Su Yi's strange way of killing people without being seen? It was hard to say, but he felt that if those Westerners really planned to break the agreement and rob Su Yi's things, they would be in big trouble. After hanging up the phone with Su Yi, Old Man Lin used a special video device to make another call. As soon as the call was connected, he entered a video conference room. The other shots were all of old people who were well known throughout Jiazhou. Old Lin, what did that kid say? According to the results of the connection between the Academy of Sciences and Shia Group, we can currently confirm that Shia Group has mastered a very mature carbon-based crystal function, which can be used commercially to replace all silicon-based crystals currently on the market. Old Man Lin took the lead in answering questions about business. Hearing this, one of the old men nodded and said, it seems that the semiconductor industry can be reshuffled. Many of our previous layouts will be invalidated. Let the relevant departments draft a new charter based on carbon-based wafers. Will this be too risky? Someone raised an objection. If we accept carbon-based wafer technology in its entirety, all our previous layouts on silicon-based wafers will be invalidated, and the loss will be trillions. If this carbon-based wafer technology is in the hands of official enterprises, then of course it can be done, but it is in the hands of Shia Group, a private enterprise, and there are too many uncertainties. So, what new technology has emerged? Do we have to continue to invest in technologies that are about to be eliminated and let the domestic semiconductor industry die with that silicon-based wafer? That's not what I meant. What I meant was, okay. While the argument was going on, the old man in the middle suddenly made a decision. Give up silicon-based wafers and turn to carbon-based wafers. As for technical issues, I'll have a good talk with that young man when I have time. It's definitely not okay to steal other people's technology, but signing an agreement is always necessary. Chapter 95. I have studied Su Yi's experience. After an agreement has been drawn up, as long as we don't take the initiative to break the agreement, he should not rashly break the agreement. This young man seems to do things without considering the consequences, but in fact, every time the opponent tries to play tricks outside the rules with him, he will completely overturn the rules and fight back. And he dares to be so unscrupulous, mainly because he holds the powerful enough to ignore the consequences. Judging from his performance, most of the time he is willing to follow the law. I think we should reach an agreement with him on the carbon-based wafer trade. On this basis, send the relevant team to contact Shia Group to help them quickly expand the market for carbon-based wafers and their derivative trade. Semiconductors are a big business that Shia Group and its family cannot afford. They want to seize the market quickly without official support. We don't want much. They master the core technology, and we master the technologies and businesses derived from carbon-based wafers. The two parties are firmly bound together, and the interests can allow Shia Group to take the lion's share. In this process, our scientific researchers can further cooperate with Shia Group, and even if they cannot fully understand the technology of carbon-based wafers, they can still learn something. Even if that kid Suyui really breaks the rules and falls out, we won't be left blank in terms of carbon-based wafer technology. We don't necessarily have to be more technologically advanced than Shia Group in this field, as long as we are more advanced than other countries. Having said this, the old man knocked on the table in front of him, looked around at the others and said, "Remember, we abide by the rules, and on this basis we will be deeply bound to the Shia Group. Obeying the rules is the key point, don't forget it." The old man's words were the final word and basically set the general direction point. The others didn't argue anymore point at present. It seems that this is indeed the best waypoint as for plundering and forcing Shia Group to hand over its technology. This is almost impossible point with such disruptive technology in hand. Where can Suyui, the most powerful person in the world, go? Not to mention, even the bald eagle, who was sanctioning the Shia Group just now, can learn how to change his face and situ an opera in minutes and treat Suyui as a guest of honor, as long as Suyui shows any intention of getting over it. Point what? Suyui assassinated the spokesperson of the Black Palace. Where did this treacherous villain dare to use such rumors to slander the entrepreneurs of our bald eagle empire? In the face of such huge interests, the current contradiction between Suyui and others is not a contradiction at all. By the way, that guy bought an island from the Aosao Alliance. Should we intervene in this matter? Old man Lin said worriedly. He became famous at a young age, and once he succeeds, he is used to everything going smoothly. I'm afraid he still doesn't know the ugly faces of those people in the West. If he really thinks that he can get a territory that is close to an independent kingdom so easily, I'm afraid he will have to eat a lot. Losing money, no need. The old man in the middle shook his head. With his unscrupulous style of doing things, he will indeed feel constrained in his long-term development in the country. If we are in trouble, he will not be able to use his hands and feet. We can ignore things like the Zheng family once, but we cannot ignore them again and again. If things go on like this, we will inevitably, if there is a conflict, it is better to let him go out and see the dangers outside. When he suffers some losses, he will naturally understand how important a relatively serious, but rule-abiding social order is. Those industries in his company, such as the water of life, have a strange origin, and are not easy to evaluate at the moment. But he will definitely hold it firmly in his hands. The Jinggyuan industry cannot do without the support of our Kyushu industrial base. Both of these are it can't be moved away casually. As for the other properties of Shia Group, let him go. If he wasn't stupid, he would definitely not leave Kyushu casually. She is not a 3-year-old child, and we are not her parents, so there is no need to be so lenient. Is this our island? On the vast ocean, a shuttle-shaped spaceship is suspended in the air several hundred meters above the sea point. There are only 3 people in the spaceship, Suyui, Yuling, and Xinghan, who has been rapidly absorbing various knowledge from Blue Star recently. 50 square kilometers doesn't look too small, Yuling said, overlooking the island. As far as living is concerned, with reasonable planning, it will be enough to house around 100,000 people. Chen Yi looked at Xinghan beside him. Didn't you say before that there are about 10,000 people from this tribe? How about this island be given to you in the future? Of course, it will still be quite depressing for 100,000 people to live on such a small island. In the future, I will cooperate with Kyushu, or ask another technological world if there is relevant equipment to expand this island. If it doesn't work out, I will find a way to buy all the other islands around me. You also know the rules of the trading platform. It will take a while to collect enough points to take over all your clan members. Within this time period, whether it is modernizing the island, expanding it, or purchasing surrounding islands, there will be enough of time. Just make your arrangements. Xinghan looked up at the island below, his tone calm. Then she continued to look down at her book. This woman was almost like a bionic person. She looked like this without any desires at all times, and Suyui was used to it. Let's go down and have a look. The Landing craft landed slowly and floated over the sea less than 2 kilometers away from the island. Suyi found an inflatable boat that he had prepared in the storage space and threw it into the sea below. Then he was taken by Yuling to land on the boat and landed on the island in a moment. There were only more than 1,000 aborigines on this island before. These people lived a very primitive life, which led to little development of the island. Most places still maintain their original ecology. I have to say that the scenery is really very good. After walking around the island and taking a close look, Suyi was quite satisfied. Then he landed directly from the east side of the island. This was the gathering place of the aborigines before, and it is also the temporary residence of the people who took over the island from Shayanayu Group. Various machines and equipment related to the transformation of the island are still on the way. The first batch of people who went to the island in advance mainly carried out terrain surveys and other work, so there were not many people. There were less than 300 people in total. Among them, there were 100 guards. All of them were hired by Suyi from a large security company in Jiuzhou. In order to ensure the combat effectiveness in the jungle area of the island, they were all retired Marines from Jiuzhou. Since they entered Shayanayu Group, they have no relationship with the previous security company and are now employees of the Shayanayu Group Security Department. The most important thing is that these people are all armed. Not only individual weapons, but also some special vehicles such as amphibious armored vehicles mainly responsible for the initial security work of the island. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96. The security team of 100 people doesn't say how powerful it is in combat, but at least it can guarantee that they won't be robbed by some random pirates, whether they are real pirates or pirates pretending to be pirates from some people around them. They are fully capable of dealing with them. Without dispatching a real army, it would be difficult to deal with hundreds of elite soldiers armed to the teeth. Under normal circumstances, unless someone is crazy, they will never send out military force to attack such a small island. But the current situation is grim, but it's hard to say. Suyi came here today. In addition to inspecting what his island looked like, his other purpose was to strengthen the island's defense. Everything is in his hands, so anyone who wants to snatch Suyi will have his mouth full of teeth broken. From this perspective, it is definitely not enough for the security team to be equipped with only some individual weapons and some special operations vehicles. Warships and other things are not easy for Suyi to deal with now. It's not that there is no way. With the value of him and the Shayanayu Group, if he wants to speak, it will definitely be no problem to find a few warships from Kyushu. There is a foreign trade version of 52D. It makes no sense that it can be sold to other countries, but not to him. But the problem is that he can't afford this thing, and there are not enough people to operate it after buying it. So instead of making it so complicated, it's better to make it simple. He just got 10 power armors from Bailu. What you are seeing now is the latest product of Shayanayu military industry under our Shayanayu Group. Shayanbing 1 type power armor in a warehouse on the island. Suyi pointed at the 5 powered armor standing in a row behind him and said to the 10 strong young men in front of him, "This powered armor is completely different from the labor-saving exoskeletons you imagine used in modern armies. I won't bullshit you about the specific technology used and the principles. I guess you won't understand it, mainly because I don't understand it myself. You have to ask the people at the research institute for this kind of thing." As soon as he said this, the 10 people in front of him laughed a few times without feeling offended. This is often the case. The same meaning expressed in different ways gives people completely different feelings. Suyi waved his hand and continued, "I'll give you a rough idea of some of the parameters of this thing. The first is battery life. There is almost no battery life anxiety. Even at full power, the battery life is enough for you to fly around the earth hundreds of times. Don't ask about the technology used, and don't guess. You just need to know that it is durable. Even if the battery life is really over one day, it will remind you long in advance that, even if you are performing the most dangerous mission, you will still have enough energy redundancy to deal with it. Then there's the power. There are 4 small refrigerant-free engines behind it, converted into a unit that you all can understand. That is, the 4 engines add up to a maximum horsepower of 240,000 horses. Of course, this description is not necessarily accurate. In short, you just need to know that this thing can fly, and its maximum speed can exceed 6 times the speed of sound. As for its protection, the external armor is made of special alloy. The thickness at its thinnest point is less than 3 mm, but it has a protective effect equivalent to 800 mm. The thickness of the armor at the most protected place reaches 70 mm, which is equivalent to 5000 mm protective effect, equivalent to 5000 mm. Doesn't it mean that the armor-piercing bullets on the tank's main gun can withstand it? Someone couldn't help but exclaimed, "The armor can definitely withstand it, but it's not certain whether you can withstand it, so I don't recommend that you show off in front of the tank gun." Suyi shrugged and continued, "In addition, this power armor also has an energy shield, which is mainly used to resist electromagnetic interference. Even if it is in a nuclear explosion area, the electronic system inside will not be affected by the electromagnetic storm generated by the nuclear explosion. Except in addition, this thing is also very effective in resisting energy weapons. Lasers are basically ineffective against you. Weapons such as bullets and shells can actually be blocked. It mainly depends on how much energy you are willing to input to maintain the shield. One thing to note here is that this energy shield is a device with the highest energy consumption in the entire power armor. If it is left on, the energy of the armor will drop rapidly. Under normal use, the battery life is almost unlimited. If the shield is turned on at full power, under such circumstances, it can only last for less than a month at most. This is the defensive part. The weapon part. It comes with an electromagnetic rifle. The magnetic track is on the wrist of the armored right arm. It has 1000 rounds of special alloy steel needles inside. It has extremely strong penetrating power. It can penetrate the tank with one shot. Frontal armor. In addition, the power armor shoulders are equipped with 10 macro missiles on each side. The explosive energy loaded inside is 30 times that of TNT. The explosion power of a small one is greater than that of a 155 howitzer. Of course, considering that under some extreme conditions, when these weapons and ammunition are used up, our armored left arm is also equipped with a high energy laser transmitter. The energy consumption is not bad, not too much. The power is also reasonable, more powerful than now. The most powerful laser weapon in the world is just a little bit more powerful, but this thing is easy to break, so when you encounter the most extreme situation such as the electromagnetic rifle, having all the bullets fired, the macro missiles running out, and the laser transmitter failing, you have one last option, the high frequency chain sword. This thing vibrates millions of times per second. The blade is made of a special alloy. Tank armor is not much harder than tofu in front of it. It is usually sealed under the right leg armor in the form of an iron chain. When you need it, just hold the hilt and pull it out. The super strong magnetic field will make the iron chain aggregate into a tightly fitting big sword. It is definitely sharper and tougher than any cold weapon you have used. It is your last weapon. Of course, even if the chainsaw sword is broken, you are not powerless to resist. With the blessing of power armor, the power of your punch exceeds 20 tons, and you have the ability to tear a tank with your bare hands without weapons. This is the approximate ability of the Xianbing 1 power armor. Of course, its ability is far more than that. The 3 defense system of fireproof, waterproof and anti-poison is definitely the best in any equipment on the entire Blue Star. It's beyond your reach. It's no exaggeration to say that, even if aliens appear on the moon now, you can wear it and fight them now. The built-in aiming system is no different from the cheating in the game. The 1000 bullets of the electromagnetic rifle can kill 1000 enemies under the right conditions. In short, wearing this, you are basically invincible on this planet. You can withstand most weapons, and even if you can't withstand them, you can dodge them with terrifying mobility. Of course, nuclear weapons are an exception. If you are hit by this thing, and are still in the center of the explosion, then I can only say that your family will receive a huge pension for 3 generations. Chapter 97. He served in the army before, and became an elite employee of a security company after retiring. Point for these men. Death is not a topic that cannot be discussed. Point. If they did not have the courage to face death, they would not do this business, so they did not take Suyi's final half-joking and half-serious ridicule seriously. The tough young man named Zhang Qingshan, who was in the lead, laughed and said, "If I'm killed by a nuclear bomb, then this life is worth it, boss. We all trust your character. We are also relieved that you will handle your affairs after your death. Now there is such a heaven-defying equipment. As long as you give an order, even if you let me go to the Black Palace to capture the sleeping emperor alive, I, Zhang Qingshan, will be a softie if I frown." He is the captain of the security team of 100 people. He is also one of the most trusted people among the security personnel recruited by Suyi. Trust is not obtained out of thin air, but has a basis among the group of people he dug from the security company to his own company. Zhang Qingshan's ability is not the best one, but his current position is actually closely related to his resume. When he was still serving in the army, in an operation to crack down on fraud and opium trafficking abroad, he killed 6 criminals who were supposed to be captured alive with his bare hands, in order to save his teammates. The process was extremely tragic, and he was seriously injured in the end, and almost died outside. However, there was insufficient evidence of the crimes of these criminals, and they could not be convicted. Moreover, they were not important leaders of the organization, but key clues. After he was killed, there was no evidence, which made the superiors who organized the operation very angry. So, after he came back, he was punished, and his bright future in the army was over. He had no choice but to choose to retire. After retiring, the military originally arranged a job for him, but his mother suffered from anemia again. Although the treatment of the job after retirement was good in all aspects, and the salary was higher than that of most ordinary people in small counties, it was still not enough to face the endless medical expenses. Therefore, he had to quit his original safe job and choose to join a security company with higher salary. There are 2 main types of work in security companies. One is domestic, which is basically not dangerous. There is basically no danger at all. Every day is just a mess. The other is long-term activities abroad. The risk factor soars sharply, and sometimes you really need to go to the battlefield. In order to make money, Zhang Qingshan basically does not accept domestic security tasks, but puts his head on his belt and runs abroad to perform various dangerous tasks. There were several times when he escaped death, but he never complained. Every time he made money, he would transfer the money to his mother for medical treatment. When Suyi was recruiting people, he asked Xianshu to check the details of these people in the security company, and he fell in love with this buddy at first sight. After using the water of life to easily solve his mother's illness, Zhang Qingshan was grateful and said frankly that this life would be his in the future. Such a real man who can give up his future and life for his comrades, and even give up a peaceful and comfortable life for his mother, is a real man who goes through fire and water. Suyi doesn't believe that he has cured his mother's great kindness, and has not treated the other party unfairly. Apart from him, the experiences of the other 9 people here are not much different. Suyi is not only their employer, but also basically has great favors for them. Of course, favors are also illusory. It is useful for many people, but there are people who know the appearance, but not the heart. They say they are grateful for the favor, but turn around and stab the benefactor. So of course he did not take it for granted that he would not betray these people, because he had done a great favor to them. They only have the right to use these power armors, and there are 2 higher levels of permission above them. One level is with Xianshu, and the highest permission is in Suyi's hands when they use the power armor. Xianshu will always keep an eye on their every move. If they really have any thoughts and actions that they should not have, Xianshu will report to Suyi as soon as possible. If Suyi cannot handle it in the first time, Xianshu will mobilize the permission to deal with it on his own, forcibly recall the power armor, and lock the person in it, waiting for Suyi to decide. So it is definitely no problem to give them the armor. It can also greatly increase the defense power of this isolated island overseas. Don't say that. After joining the group, we are all family. Just do your own thing. So, Yi waved his hand and announced the arrangement for the power armor. There are only 5 prototypes with mature technology. I mean that the 10 of you can be divided into 2 shifts and use them in turns during Daily training. You can train and study together. Find out the functions of the power armor as soon as possible and discuss scientific ways to use it. The functions of the power armor are very complicated, and it is difficult for me to explain it to you at once. The meaning of the research institute is that no matter how much I say, it is not as useful as you wearing it and using it for a few hours. There is also a built-in AI inside the armor, so you don't have to worry about the problem of not being easy to use at the beginning. That's probably the situation. You can discuss it with each other. 2 people in a group. The armor is the same. Just choose it yourself. At this point, he seemed to remember something and added, by the way, in case you don't know, this power armor itself has a load-bearing capacity of more than 10 tons. If you want, each of you can carry a cannon and fire a few shots at the opponent before the battle. With these 5 power armors here, even if the Bald Eagle really drives an aircraft carrier formation here, it may not be able to take over this small island point at most. It will destroy some infrastructure on the island point as for personnel safety. The core of the first phase of the island transformation project is the underground bunker. Suyi requires a nuclear bunker that is hundreds of meters underground and can withstand nuclear bombing on the island point after it is built. Once a war occurs, the residents of the island can evacuate it as soon as possible. Nuclear bombs may not work directly, let alone the aircraft carrier formation's bombing point. If that happens, the residents hide underground, and these armors are enough to kill the entire aircraft carrier formation point. Even if the power armor is allowed to board the aircraft carrier, Suyi may have to make a big job of capturing the Bald Eagle aircraft carrier and capturing the naval commander alive for the whole world. Not to mention, he was even looking forward to this scene. Ahem. After explaining the business, Suyi left the warehouse and came to the beach. Yuling and Crossing Hen were sitting on a rock, looking at the endless sea, whispering something. It was not until Suyi approached that he heard Crossing Hen, who had been expressionless before, looking at the distance with a look of longing, and murmured, "Such a world, how wonderful it is." Chapter 98. Okay. What's a good idea, Su? Yi sat next to them unceremoniously. Xinghan turned to look at him, pursed his lips and said, "In many ways, what about, for example, everyone here is equal, Su?" Yi couldn't help laughing and said, "It's just words. Don't really believe it. There are many places of inequality. Everyone is an independent individual with different abilities. Absolute equality for everyone is impossible." He thought that this girl had read a bunch of random books at Blue Star in the past 2 days, which had really brainwashed her unexpectedly. The next moment he saw Xinghan nodding and saying, "I know, but at least the mainstream concept is that everyone is equal. Even if you don't agree in your heart, you must admit it. And to a certain extent, compared to the magical world, everyone here is indeed equal. No. Equality is only caused by the difference between power and capital. In this world, if a person has enough power and capital, even if he is from an ordinary background, he can achieve a very high status. But our world is different. In ours, bloodline determines everything. Everyone is destined to their status in that world from the moment they are born, regardless of race. Intelligent beings are divided into nobles, commoners, untouchables, and bastards like me who can't even be considered untouchables." Having said this, Xinghan sneered and looked at Suyi. "Have you always thought that I have a high status in the magical world? Isn't it?" This time it was Suyi's turn to be surprised. Although he had heard from Yuling before about the strict hierarchical lineage theory in the magical world. But this star mark is called the star prayer in the magic world, and he is one of the strongest beings among the various gods of magic and martial arts. How could such a person have a high status? So, your world is very good, so good that you even think that you can get the corresponding status if you have strength. Xinghan shrugged. Those nobles who are proud of their bloodline will of course maintain a certain level of respect on the surface when they are in front of me. But most of the time, they don't even bother to appear in front of me and will even deliberately avoid me. Even if they sometimes have to discuss something with me, after the discussion, they will look back and curse, "You despicable bastard. You are just lucky enough to have some blessings from the gods, but you dare to talk to me like this, and then quickly go and use it." bathing in the most fragrant petals. It seems that there is some inherent stench in me that will stain their noble blood, so Yi came closer and smelled. No, it smells pretty good. Xinghan's pretty face froze, and she tilted her head unnaturally. Princess Yuling said you are very lustful, and it is true. Impossible. Then Yuling must have misunderstood. Su Yi quickly changed the topic. Everyone in your world can't be so exaggerated. Are you right, Yuling? Ling, as he said that, he looked at Yuling on the other side, but found that her expression was a little unnatural. No, you did it too, princess. Yuling is one of the few nobles among the nobles, so she asked Princess Weiwei of the Qiang Empire to bring me a message before I came here. Xinghan took the initiative to help her make up for it. It's not that good. Yuling sighed and said, when I was an elf princess, I did think that I was inherently superior to others. My kindness to you hybrids of humans and elves was just out of pity. I didn't think it was unfair at the time. It was only later that the elf kingdom fell, and I thought about it a lot when I was in exile. Plus, when I came to Blue Star and saw the way humans get along here, I realized my mistake at that time. I'm sorry. You have apologized many times, princess. There is no need. Xinghan smiled helplessly. For whatever purpose, at least compared to others, you are good enough to us abandoned people. Social environment does affect people's outlook on life. In that environment, it's normal to have wrong ideas. Su Yi also expressed relief. This is actually the truth. Society operates because of people, and people will also change due to the operation of society. It is normal for different views on the same thing to occur in different social environments. Just be able to make corresponding changes in a timely manner according to the social environment you are in. Individuals must adapt to the general environment rather than asking the general environment to adapt to the individual. The worldview of the magical world is just that, and it is normal for Yuling to follow the crowd. We cannot expect everyone to inexplicably come up with the idea of overturning the world's mainstream thinking and creating their own school of thought. But then again, as a Blue Star person, he felt outrageous about the magical world's outrageous lineage theory. Xinghan is already a demigod, and he can only gain superficial respect because of his bloodline. No matter how small the nobles are, or even those low status untouchables, they don't bother to associate with him. Even if she used her hands to tie up these people, they wouldn't be enough for her to fight alone, and it would still be the case. This gives people the feeling that a Kaishu man, with millions of soldiers at his disposal, drove the Star Destroyer to the door of Ao's house. Those white-skinned nobility randomly sent a white-headed old man to guard the door and told him, lowly Yazhao monkey, are you worthy of talking to me? The main thing is to explode the three views. It is hard to imagine that such a thing really exists, but the facts are in front of us. The two parties from the magic world think so there is no need to say more. So, have you decided? After the few people talked for a while, Su Yi asked the question that really concerned him. I have decided. Xinghan nodded and said, next time you go to trade, I will give you my token, and with it, you can ask Weiwei from the magic world to summon my people here. You need time to accumulate points to bring life to this world through the trading platform, right? Don't worry, just take your time. Okay, I'll tell you when I have enough points to bring a batch here. So Yi agreed immediately. This was his original purpose, and now it seems to be a win-win situation. As the sky gradually darkened, as the sun gradually fell into the sea level, the three of them did not rush back to Jiazhao, but instead had an outdoor barbecue on the beach. Xinghan, who had been silent and melancholy before, always expressionless like a robot, seemed to have untied some knots in his heart, and he was visibly more talkative. Su Yi was on vacation, so he was not in a hurry to go back. It was 3 days before he returned to Jiazhao. As soon as he returned, Xianshu brought him bad news. Chapter 99. You mean the Aozhao Alliance is ready to start trouble? Not really. Xianshu replied unhurriedly. After they obtained the water of life, they stopped keeping the agreement between you secret. They tried to gradually guide public opinion to pave the way for this matter and prepare to announce it. However, the entire Aozhao Alliance has long been infiltrated into a sieve by the bald eagle. The top secret agreement, that only a few people know, has just been relaxed a little, and the news was immediately known to the Bald Eagle. Then, it was revealed that the senior officials of the Aoshao Alliance Council had sold the island to you at a very low price for their own selfish purposes, and it soon caused huge waves in the entire Aoshao continent. Many Aoshao people have taken to the streets with banners to protest, demanding to take back the island and to have the senior officials of the Aoshao Alliance who passed this agreement step down. Based on the Aoshao Alliance's past style of handling these matters, I think they probably won't be able to hold on for long, and will soon give in, or take the blame and resign. As for whether those who come to power will still abide by the agreement, I'm pessimistic. After getting the benefits, take the blame, resign and run away, leaving the mess behind. Su Yi sneered. They are oversimplifying things. This is the benefit of a small government. They do not need to be responsible for the stupid decisions they made during their time in office, nor are they responsible for their partners during their time in office. It is not unusual for them to change their orders from day to day after resigning, letting the floods continue. Xianshu explained. This can be regarded as the biggest difference between the West and Kyushu. If you plan to deal with Kyushu people all the time with their way of thinking, I'm afraid you will suffer a lot. Xianshu, sir, I'm here. Su Yi suddenly sneered and said, you made a mistake. Please enlighten me. I don't care what unspoken rules they have, what rules and regulations they have, whether you still need to be responsible after resigning. Su Yi said in a deep voice, when doing business with me, you must follow my rules. Do you really think everything will be fine if you resign and run away? Haha, then they are thinking too much. The water of life can not only prolong life, but also be a reminder for them. If you take advantage of me and don't do anything for me, there is no such good thing in the world. The way the system operates in the West is different from that in Kyushu, and Su Yi certainly knows that point. The reason why he knew he wanted to play this way was because he wanted to take advantage of this group of people's mentality of making a fortune and running away, and then get the island point. Once the agreement is signed, no matter who comes up in the future, don't even think about relying on him. Point. As for those who take the benefits and do nothing and want to run away as soon as they get the water of life, don't expect any good things like extending their lifespan. Point. Su Yi would make them unable to even live their original lifespan. Sir, you are right. When you have absolute power, you don't need to care about who makes the rules. Xianshu was silent for a while and then agreed. I will add this important data to the computational model in the future to avoid getting wrong results again. That's not necessary. Su Yi rejected its proposal. You only need to calculate according to the rules. It is best not to use special means outside the rules. Once you encounter a problem and rely on brute force to break the situation, the order will gradually collapse, and the entire system will tend to chaos. The whole world will be plunged into extreme chaos, which is not good for anyone. Although he recently likes to use the power of the Wizarding World's supermodels to solve problems outside the rules, but he has always remained sober. Most of the time, he will use power outside the rules to solve problems when the power within the existing rules cannot solve the problem. Point. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to do any business and would just let Yuling and Crossing Hen burn, kill, loot, and become the richest man in the world in a matter of minutes. But if this kind of thing is done too much, it will soon lead to the collapse of world order. What followed was that the whole world fell into chaos at that time. Everyone will have a hard time, and they may even be fried by mushrooms, which is not worth the gain. That's it. Let me know the latest news as soon as possible. After explaining to Xianshu, Su Yisheng wanted to ask Yuling what to eat tonight. Point. Unexpectedly, as soon as he stood up and took 2 steps, Xianshu brought new news. Sir, Bald Eagle has just made an announcement. Su Yi paused. What announcement? There has been a long-term military alliance agreement between the Bald Eagle and the Aoshao Alliance. Just now, the Bald Eagle issued an announcement on the island transaction between the Aoshao Alliance and your island in the name of this agreement organization. The content of the notice is probably that this agreement is illegal and not recognized by the military agreement organization. Your landing on the island with Xianshu group is an act of invasion. You are ordered to evacuate all Shianayu Group employees who have landed on the island within 3 days. Otherwise, as stipulated in the agreement, Bald Eagle and the military forces of the participating countries have the responsibility to launch military operations against you to recapture the islands that originally belonged to the Aoshao Alliance military agreement organization. Suyi was stunned for a moment, then thought of the infamous Northern Ocean Convention, and sneered. They will take advantage of it. What do the Aoshao Alliance say? Qianshu immediately replied. 3 of the Aoshao Alliance's top parliamentarians who reached an agreement with you have resigned due to pressure. The speaker's current attitude is very ambiguous, and there seems to be a tendency to tear up the agreement, and the Bald Eagle statement is actually not something that the Aoshao Alliance can control. Since the Second World War, most of the military power of the Aoshao Alliance has been in the hands of the Bald Eagle. The Bald Eagle used the Northern Ocean Convention to protect the flag of the Aoshao Alliance is launching a military operation against you, and they don't have the ability to stop it, even if they want to. The Northern Ocean Convention has actually demilitarized the entire Aoshao continent. Among the many countries in the Aoshao Alliance, there are only 1 or 2 that can be autonomous militarily. If the Bald Eagle is going to die, it is really not their control whether to initiate military action. Aoshao Alliance? It's just a dog with a broken spine. It's pitiful. Suyi shook his head and then asked Qianshu, how do you think it should be handled within the rules? Qianshu thought for a moment and then gave the answer. According to calculations and within the rules, the best strategy at present is to use our information advantage on the internet to forcibly change the perception of all people in the Western world about this island transaction. Through the pressure brought by the people, we will force the Bald Eagle to give up this operation. The public can be fooled. When the amount of information is enough, their attention will be attracted. Compared with direct force feeding, people believe in the answers they infer, and through some general, vague, and broad descriptions, I can guide them to the answers they want, and ultimately use public opinion to my advantage, and I just have this ability on this planet. Chapter 100. Qianshu's method is very simple, that is, direct information bombardment to change the perception of Western people. Then use the Western voting mechanism to force the Bald Eagle and the countries of the Aoshao Alliance to abandon military actions and accept the deal. As for how to legalize an originally illegal transaction and let the vast majority of people agree with its legitimacy. This is not a difficult task. As long as you have the ability to control online public opinion, you can turn black into white and dead into alive under the massive information bombardment. Calling a deer a horse is not impossible in the modern internet environment. When people are in a group, and when they are independent individuals, they cannot be generalized. It is difficult to change the 3 views of a certain person, but it is very simple to change the perception of a group. Suyi had no doubt that Qianshu had such ability, but he still shook his head and said, apart from this method, use your own advantages to drag Jiazhao into the water. Qianshu replied decisively, now, apart from you, the only one in the world that has the ability to fight against the Bald Eagle and its allies is Jiazhao. If you can use the importance of you and your industries to drag Jiazhao into the water, there is a 50% chance that the Bald Eagle will give up the idea of military strikes, and a 30% chance that some friction will occur, and eventually the Bald Eagle will give up targeting you. There is a 15% chance that an abnormal local war will occur because the location of the island is far away from Jiazhao and the Bald Eagle's homeland, and the outcome is unpredictable. There is a 5% chance that a world war will be triggered and the whole world will be burned down. So, Yi's mouth twitched. To be honest, the Jiazhao government has been good to him. It would be better to let Qianshu brainwash others than to drag them into the water for nothing. Forget it. Suyi waved his hand and said, it's really difficult for you to deal with this matter without using forces outside the rules. Let's just leave it alone. Even if they are really preparing to launch a military operation against the island, it will not be in the next 2 days. Don't worry about it for the time being. You should focus on the construction of the island. Obviously, you have prepared a better plan. It is really difficult for me to find a better answer besides your solution. Cheyenne flattered silently again. The so-called better plan is the 5 power armors that Suyui put on the island in advance. To put it bluntly, this is still using things outside the rules to solve the problem. However, the situation this time is a little different. The bald eagle directly wants to engage in military confrontation, but they are the first to break the rules. Of course, Suyui doesn't have to stick to the rules. People are going to drive warships to fight you, and you are still talking to them. Isn't that stupid? The news about the deal between Shia Group and Alzhou Alliance, the disturbance in Alzhou and the reaction of Bald Eagle and NATO were spread to Jiazhou on the same day. The next day, it became popular on the internet without Xianshu's intervention. Bald Eagle and NATO threatened to launch a military strike against the overseas base of a company in Jiazhou. This is too new. The people of Jiazhou, who have suffered from Bald Eagle for a long time, immediately stood up and supported Shia Group. But under the premise of supporting the general direction, there are naturally some people who think they are sober and sing the opposite tune. After browsing the major forums for a whole morning, I just feel that the people in this land have gone crazy and are completely hopeless. Brother, be careful with your words. You can't tell the truth here. Damn it, Brother Sober is here again. I'm so angry. So good to scold. These swordtoms deserve to be scolded. Others have been pushing their noses and faces, but still put on the yin and yang. They are born to be traitors. Here they come again, accusing me again. Haha, have you? The indignant people carefully read the statement of the Bald Eagle military spokesperson and the information disclosed in the relevant events. It was your Shia Group that privately bribed the senior officials of the Alzhou Alliance and reached an island lease agreement with them. Is this legal? The content of the agreement has been announced. It is in black and white. Tell me why it is not legal. Just because there is an agreement is legal. Go ask the Jiazhou officials. Is the usury contract legal? Did the people of the Alzhou Alliance agree to the sale of islands? If the agreement reached privately by shady means is also legal, then there is nothing illegal in this world. It is illegal. If there are people who oppose it, then when the previous dynasty signed the unequal contract, did the people not oppose it? Why do those white people have the right to tyrannize over a bunch of leased lands? You are making a sophistry. The times have changed. Bullshit. When your Western father was strong, it was legal to be a robber. We have worked hard for generations to accumulate wealth. Now the offensive and defensive situation has changed. You come out and say that the times have changed. This is not legal? I'll fuck you. In less than a day, the internet was in an uproar. Most people think that the Bald Eagle is too much. The contract signed by Shia Group and Alzhou Alliance in black and white. These people now want to default on the debt, which is simply intolerable. However, a small number of people think that the island lease agreement reached by Shia Group through improper means was wrong in the first place. Even if it encountered military strikes from the Bald Eagle and the North Pacific Treaty Organization overseas, it deserved it. In essence, there is no right or wrong in this matter, whether it is Shia Group, Alzhou Alliance, or Bald Eagle. In fact, they are all, based on their own interests. The contract signed by Shia Group in black and white, and the content of the contract also clearly states what obligations and what to do after Shia Group takes over the island. Although there are many seemingly loopholes in the contract, which allow Shia Group to easily exploit these loopholes and not fulfill these obligations in the later stage, these things are indeed written on it. Just looking at the surface of the contract, this is not an unequal agreement. So of course he has reason to refuse to return it. As for the people of the Alzhou Alliance, they are definitely unwilling to recognize the agreement reached by Suyui bribing their senior management. The Bald Eagle and the Northern Ocean Convention have the obligation to safeguard the territory and interests of the Alzhou Alliance, and it is reasonable and legal to interfere. Everyone has something to say. In this case, the debate about this matter on the Jiazhou internet, thousands of miles away, is actually not a question of right or wrong. It is a question of position. Standing in different positions. Of course, different right and wrong will be drawn. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.